Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is story about what if Fem neglected Naruto Apprentice of Itachi Part 1. Before I start, please do support for more amazing content and comments for Part 2. Do consider to subscribe my channel and share my video to your friends and check out the description as well. Let's start the video. Namikaze Naruto is the son of Konoha's Yellow Flash, Minato Namikaze, and the Red Hot Habanero, Kushina Uzumaki. Naruto was a once-in-a-million-years prodigy. Because of being the Yondaime Hokage's son and his immense potential, Naruto's training began when he was just 3 years old. He joined the academy at 4 years old. Naruto's academy years were very hard because of his age and because of the harassment he received from the older boys because of their jealousy towards him. But he always ignored them and turned the other ear because he was not interested to get into needless fights. His only friends in the academy were Izumi Uchiha, who was the Uchiha clan head Fugaku Uchiha's, and his mother's best friend Mikoto Uchiha's daughter, Hana Inuzuka, who was the Inuzuka clan head's daughter, Yugao Yuzuki, and Hate Gecko. Yugao and Hate were older than him like the rest of his class except Izumi. They were 12 years old, now the both are 15, almost 16, and were graduating the next year. Izumi Uchiha, like him, was a prodigy. They were best of friends and of the same age and had known each other since very little because Naruto was a welcome guest at the Uchiha clan head's home because of Kushina's friendship with Mikoto, and Fugaku was not displeased with Naruto coming to his home because he was very intrigued about the blonde boy and also because he was a little scared that his wife will make him sleep on the couch if he tell the boy to not visit. Izumi was a shy girl who did not speak to people very much. The only person she openly spoke to was Naruto, to whom she had a very huge crush. Naruto, despite his age of 8, was very cute, bordering handsome, and had a number of fangirls, much to Izumi's annoyance, although he always ignored them but still was very polite towards them. Naruto was a very respectful, intelligent, calm and soft-spoken boy. Although he was a little distant with his parents and Izumi, he loved his parents dearly, who adored him and cared for Izumi despite his obvious obliviousness towards her feelings. Naruto was a pacifist and hoped that one day peace could be achieved in the world because of the horrors and countless unnecessary bloodshed he had seen in the Third Shinobi World War. Izumi was also a pacifist and believed in his dream that peace could be achieved one day. Naruto was trained personally by his father in ninjutsu and chakra control, kenjutsu and fuinjutsus by his mother, and taijutsu and some ninjutsu by Jiraiya of the Sannin, who was his godfather. Naruto was very respectful towards Jiraiya because he knew that underneath the perverted facade lies a very skilled and dangerous shinobi who had the same desire for peace like him. He was very close to the Sandaime Hokage, Sarutobi Hiruzen, who thought of him as an grandchild. Naruto was also very close with the female member of the Denetsu no Sannin, Tsunade Senju, who was his godmother. Despite her resentment towards Konoha for taking away her loved ones, Tsunade was very close to Kushina, who she thought of as a little sister because of them both being Uzumaki, although in Tsunade's case part Uzumaki on her grandmother's side. Although she stayed away from Konoha, Tsunade accepted Kushina's request to be Naruto's godmother and felt an instant attachment to him, and saw him as a nephew. Shizen, the apprentice of Tsunade, also was close to Naruto, and saw him as a little brother. Naruto often went to visit them with Kushina because despite their adoration of Naruto, Tsunade still could not forget about the losses she suffered in Konoha and chose to stay away from the village. Naruto was also close to Kakashi, who was his father's student and also Kakashi's friends, Kurina Yuhi, a genjutsu specialist, Asuma Sarutobi, the Sandaime's son, Meitogai, a taijutsu specialist, and Anko Mitarashi, the former apprentice of the snake Sannin Orochimaru. They all thought of him as an younger brother. Naruto, with intense training, became a genin at 5 years and 7 months old, chunin at 6.5 years, and got inducted into the special ANBU Team Rho under the command of Captain Kakashi Hatake at 7 years and 5 months old, making history and reputation throughout the elemental nations as the Yondaime's son and also as the youngest ANBU member. He is an A-rank bordering B-rank ninja in the bingo books. Naruto mastered the Rasengan in 1 week as a genin. He is also very talented in ninjutsu, kenjutsu, taijutsu, and is an overall very strong ninja, even being only 8 years old. Naruto was forced to grow up and be strong fast because of the constant assassinations attempts on his life since he was born from Iwa Nines due to him being the Yondaime's son. Naruto has slight knowledge of the Hiraishin no Jutsu of his father's, but still he has not gotten full control of it, and gets tired really fast when using it because of his unfamiliarity with the Jutsu opposed to his father, who had been using it for years. When he uses it constantly, his chakra gets drained and get mentally exhausted, but that is not the case with his father because he was already familiar with the Jutsu to only use a very low amount of chakra and to shrug of the mental exhaustion experienced when using it. Naruto had gained a fierce reputation as an ANBU and has done 17 D ranks and 4 C ranks as a genin, 34 C ranks, 30 B ranks and 3 A ranks as a chunin, 11 B ranks, 29 A ranks and 6 S ranks as an ANBU. Naruto is well respected and is adored by his village. All in all, he was living a happy life until the fateful day, i.e. October 10. October 10th, evening. Naruto was uncharacteristically ecstatic today. The normally quiet and impassive boy had a cheerful energy today that even his ANBU team mates were looking at him curiously. The reason for the blonde boy's happiness is because today was the day his baby sister is going to be born. His parents had been trying for another baby 4 years since his birth. He had always wanted a sibling, and he had promised himself that he will love his little sister with all his heart and would teach her everything he knows. But despite all this, he had a tinge of worry in him. The reason was because his mother was the Kyuubi's Jinchuriki, and the seal will weaken during childbirth. So due to the Sandame's instructions, the birthing of his sister was to be done in a secret chamber in the outskirts of Konoha, the very same place that his mother gave birth to him years ago, so that the malicious chakra of the Kyuubi will be unable to be detected by the villagers who do not know that his mother is the Kyuubi's Jinchuriki. The knowledge of the sealing place is only known to a select few people, including him. He was so immersed in his thoughts that he did not sense that his entire team was looking at him in confusion. Naruto, what's the reason that got you all thoughtful? Kakashi Taisha asked him. It was then that he snapped back from his daydreaming. Adopting his best poker face so that they would not be able to see his embarrassment of being caught off guard, he replied, "It's nothing, Kakashi Taishu." Oh, come on, Naruto, stop being so damn frigid and spill it out already. And didn't I tell you to call me Kakashi and I? Kakashi asked him with fake hurt in his tone. Yeah, Naruto-kun, you're always so stoic. Relax, will ya? Our mission's already done, and also who is the lucky girl that you are thinking about? Kirinetsuo, one of the 2 female team members of his, asked teasingly. Naruto held back a sigh at her questioning. His team members always does these things to tease him. Maintaining his passive face, he replied, I told you, Kakashi Taishu, it's nothing, and Kira-senpai, even if the mission is over we should not slack off, and also I am not old enough to be interested in girls. Hopefully that will be enough talk. Naruto thought. Naruto's team sighed, the boy's gotta know when to relax, really he is the polar opposite of Kushina-sama. I hope at least Sensei's daughter is somewhat lively. Kakashi thought exasperatedly. Okay, Naruto, you win now, team. Go home and get rest, and I'll go give the mission report to Hokage-sama's office. Kakashi told his team and took off towards the Hokage tower. Isn't it now the time that Sandaime-sama's wife told Kasan and Ota-san to go to the chamber? Maybe if I hurry I can see them off. Naruto thought in uncharacteristic excitement. He told farewells and left his team to go to his home. His house was a little distance away from the Hokage tower. Naruto quickly reached his home and saw his mother being led through the streets by the Sandaime's wife, Biwako Sarutobi. Come, Kushina, we can't afford to be late, she told his mother. His mother let out a nervous chuckle and replied, Oh, okay. He sighed at hearing his mother's response. His dear mother was sometimes a bit of a scatterbrain. He quickly reached them and bowed slightly in front of the Sandaime's wife, Biwako-sama. Ka-san, I see that you are already heading towards the chamber? He asked in a quiet voice so that the surrounding people would not hear them talking about the secret chamber. Ah, Naruto-kun, it's good to see you, she greeted back with a smile. And yes, your mother and I am heading towards there. I've been hearing plenty of impressive mission details about you from Sandaime-sama, my dear. The will of fire burns brightly in you. You will become a fine Hokage one day. The Sandaime's wife complimented the blonde. I am thankful of your generous praise, Biwako-sama. But they were a team effort, I am just a piece of the puzzle. Naruto replied humbly, not one for fame. He then turned towards his mother and said, I am sorry for being late, Kasa, and the mission was a bit difficult. If you want, I'll accompany you towards the village gates. His mother giggled at his polite and gentleman attitude and said, Oh, it's okay, Naruto-chan, it's not your fault. And what's with the if you want to accompany me? You know that if you hadn't joined me I would have spanked you till you come. She giggled again when she saw his embarrassed blush. He, still works, she patted herself on her back mentally, knowing that she was the only one who could get a reaction like this out her normally stoic child. Biwako sighed at the antics of the mother-son duo. Come, Kushina, Naruto-kun, we must go, she stated exasperatedly. Naruto and Kushina quickly followed after her. After a short time of walking, they met his mother's best friend Mikoto Uchiha, who was standing in the streets holding her newborn son. Ah, it's a girl? Kushina squealed with excitement. No, he is a boy, she giggled and replied. Oh, what a little cutie. Hey there, handsome, the flamboyant redhead gushed. Come on, Naruto-chan, come meet Izumi-chan's little brother. She beckoned for him to join her. Naruto and Biwako went towards them and he slightly bowed to Mikoto and said, Greetings, Mikoto-sama, I hope you have been well? I had heard from Izumi that you had a daughter, but I was a little busy with my duties to come visit you. Gomen. Mikoto smiled and replied, Ah, Naruto-kun, still as handsome as ever I see. And it's okay, Izumi-chan told me that you have been busy. She then adopted a playful frown on her face and asked, and how many times have I told you not to call me Mikoto-sama and to call me Oba-chan? Including this? 178, Mikoto-sama. He replied blankly, making them all face-palm at his statement. Naruto-kun. 179. Mikoto sighed in defeat. Well, let's agree to disagree. She sighed tiredly. So have you seen Izumi-chan yet? She got promoted to Chunin today. I think she has been waiting for you at the training grounds to tell you the news. She reminded him. Naruto face-bombed mentally. How could I have forgotten that? I should go there before her patience runs down, and she hunts me down, he thought with slight panic. Oh Gomen, I must have forgotten, he replied, looking a bit sheepish. His mother pouted and scolded him. How could you have forgotten it, Naruto-chan? The poor dear will be heartbroken if you didn't show up. Now be a good boy and go congratulate the dear. Naruto frowned and replied, But Ka-san? No buts, young man. You will go there, now. You can see me and the baby when we get back. Your dad has already went ahead to do the preparations. She reprimanded him. Naruto gave a tired sigh and relented. There was no denying her when she was like this. Giving a nod, he said, Okay, I'll go now, but take care. Giving a short bow to Mikoto and Biwako, he said, Sayonara Biwako-sama, Mikoto-sama, I must go now. With that he teleported away to the training grounds, missing the pout Mikoto had thrown his way for not calling her Oba-chan again. After saying goodbyes to Mikoto, Kushina and Biwako continued towards the village gate. Training Ground 7. Naruto reached his old team training ground via Shunshin and found Izumi sitting on a log with her arms crossed and with a very pissed-off expression on her face. He chuckled nervously, knowing that he had clearly ticked her off. Izumi Uchiha was one that is not to be trifled with. She was a very skilled kunoichi and was a prodigy genius like him. She had become a genin at 7 and now have become a chunin at nearly 8 years old, a record that was only bested by him, although Kakashi had a better record because he became a genin at 5, chunin at 6 and jounin at 10, but Naruto held the record for youngest ANBU because he became one close to 8, while Kakashi was one at 13. She had activated her Sharingan at merely 5 years old, the youngest to ever do so. Gathering his composure quickly, he greeted her with a nervous smile. Konbanwa Izumi, did you arrive early? Frowning, she schooled her face to her trademark Uchiha stoic face and replied, I had not come early, Naruto-kun, it is you who had come late. Biting his lip, he tried to defuse the situation. Gomensai Izumi, I was very busy with work. I came as soon as I got free. Still keeping her ice-cold facade, she asked him in a mocking tone, Oh, I was not aware that your work was more important than congratulating me, Naruto-kun? Naruto held back a wince at her reply. It was clear that she was really unhappy with him. He let out a loud sigh that was very uncharacteristic of him because of his reputation of rarely showing any emotions in front of others. Izumi and his mother were the only people that could get a reaction like that out of him, and they both knew this and tended to capitulate on it most of the times. He reached over to her sitting form and gently grasped her shoulders, not noticing her yelp and faint blush, and said pleadingly, Okay, I'm sorry, I was a little out of it today. There was a lot of things in my mind and I was a little excited about my little sister being born. I'll make it up to you somehow. Will you please forgive me? Izumi was now heavily blushing at the slightly intimate posture that they were in. Naruto was the only one who could get her to be so shy and reduce her to a blushing wreck. She had always had strong feelings for him. They had known each other from a very small age. At first she had only seen him as a brother. But after spending the academy with him, her feelings had started to grow. At first she didn't think much of it, but after a while she had confirmed it after her rather possessive nature towards him. She had always been very annoyed when Naruto was followed around by his fangirls. She always thought what the hell was wrong with those girls to drool after someone 4 or 5 years younger than them. She would admit it that he was very cute, dare say handsome for someone his age, but she had always liked him for his good-natured heart and his strong desire for peace, not his looks. The fangirls only got worse when he became an ANBU to the degree that she had to hold herself back so as to not outright attack them. Mentally composing herself, she told him, It's okay, Naruto-kun, I understand your concerns for your little sister. I was also like that during my little Sasuke-chan's birth. But you will want me for letting this go. Nodding in agreement, he let go of her shoulders, much to her inward disappointment. So that's what his name is. I had seen him on my way here with your mother. He is a really beautiful child. He is so much like you in that respect, he commented. Izumi once again blushed at his indirect compliment of her. She knew that he had only called her beautiful in innocence, but she could not help the feeling of butterflies flying in her stomach. Not noticing her obvious daydreaming, he continued, "Anyway, gozaimasu. I knew you would reach Chunin easily. Here I have a gift for you." He reached for his ANBU pants and took out a case. He took her hand in his and placed the box on them. He was amused by her stupefied expression and let out a small chuckle. Izumi was snapped out her thoughts by the grasping of her hands gently. She looked at the object in her hands and noticed a small case with beautiful designs adorning it. She was snapped out of her trance by a small chuckle and looked up. Naruto, still amused by her expression, asked her in a slight teasing voice, "Did you honestly thought that I would not give you a gift? Now come on, hurry up and open it." She once again blushed at his teasing voice and pouted cutely. She slowly opened the box and found a set of Hiraishin kunais that Naruto uses, further designed by little gems. All in all, they were beautiful. Putting them away in her pants, she flashed him a bright smile and thanked him. He waved off her thanks and replied, "It's nothing really. I had them slightly embroidered, but other than that, no biggie. Now, if you ever get into trouble or need my presence, channel chakra into it and throw them at a nearby spot and I'll Hiraishin there. But only use it on very urgent occasions because it can be very taxing if I travel long distances, but I am comfortable using it at short distances and close combat." Izumi nodded and replied, "Okay, Naruto-kun, I'll keep it in mind." She then got a thoughtful expression and asked, "Isn't your mother's delivery today?" She knew that Naruto's mother was a Jinchuriki and that she was giving birth at a secret location, although she did not know where. She knew these facts, but the rest didn't because he had told her of it. "Yes, Ka-san has already went there with Biwako-sama," he answered with nod. "I hope she is well. Oto-san has also gone there prior to them," he added in a quiet and unsure voice. Izumi frowned, not liking his obvious distress, and tried to soothe him by telling, "It will be fine. Kushina-sama is a strong woman and nobody can catch Hokage-sama unaware. Now forget about it, and relax." Naruto nodded with uncertainty but did not reply. He sat on the log next to her and the rest of the time was spent in comfortable silence. Several hours later. The sky had started to darken and there was an ominous feeling that was beginning to creep into the surrounding air. Naruto had been having a grave feeling of danger in the atmosphere. He could not identify what it was troubling him, but he felt that something bad was about to happen. He looked towards Izumi and noticed that the girl's eyes were closed but could tell that she was well aware of her surroundings. Suddenly a loud roar was heard and Izumi's eyes snapped open. Malicious chakra hit them at full force, making even the normally composed duo panic. He knew that it was the Kyuubi's chakra and identified the spot it came from to be a little away from the secret chamber. His excellent sensory skills helping him locate the origin of the chakra with ease. Composing himself just for Izumi's sake, who looked mortified and knew that if he also showed his panic outwardly it will just increase her distress, he said calmly, "Izumi, I'm going to the place where I felt that chakra. It seems something is wrong with the Kyuubi seal. I need you to hurry up and go home." Despite her sense of dread, Izumi stubbornly refused. "No, I am not going to leave you to fight alone. I am coming with you." Naruto gave her an intense glare which made her recoil and ordered in a harsh tone, "I am not asking you. I cannot fight properly if I am concerned about you. Go home now," he shouted at the end. Noticing her hurt expression, his eyes softened. "Izumi, listen to me. I am as worried as you. But I am not alone, my dad is also there. Please go home." Izumi frowned but nodded reluctantly. Taking his hands in hers and holding them together, she replied in a soft voice, "Okay, I'll go home. But remember, you owe me twice now and please stay safe. I don't know what I'll do if you DD." She could not dare complete that sentence. Naruto chuckled softly. He was well aware of the girl's feelings towards him, although he acted as though he was completely oblivious towards them. He didn't return her obvious feelings because he thought that he didn't deserve her, and that she deserved better than him. Due to his very mature nature, he knew that her infatuation will be gone after a few years. Relationships and all will only hinder both their potential and may affect their end goal of attaining peace. Leaning towards her so that their faces were just a few centimeters apart, which made her breath quicken, he whispered, "I will. You two stay safe, Izumi-chan." Saying that, he leaned further and gave a kiss to her cheek and then Hirashined away, leaving a tomato-red-faced girl holding her cheek with a dazed look on her face. A little distance away from the chamber, Naruto was dashing through the tree branches at full speed. He was a little winded from Hirashining such a large distance. He had earlier placed a seal close to the place he felt the malicious chakra. He was now certain that he was close to the place. His astute mind was calculating all the possibilities that may have happened. How could the seal be broken? His father was the best seal master currently in Konoha, followed by Jiraiya sensei and him. Most of all, he was concerned about his mother and little sister. Naruto got past the forest to a clearing with a shrine made of rocks. He was horrified seeing his mother attached to the rocks by the seals running throughout her body. The Kyuubi's chakra was slowly escaping from his mother. He stepped closer and his keen senses alerted him of several kunais thrown towards him. He dodged them and narrowed his eyes on his assailant. He saw a masked man wearing a dark cloak standing close to the ritual place. "Who are you and what do you want with my mother?" he asked calmly, but inwardly he was anything but calm. He wanted to rip the man that dared hurt his mother to pieces. Well, if it isn't the son of the Kiroi Senko, come to rescue your mother?" the masked man commented, chuckling. Meanwhile, Naruto was thinking what to do. Where the heck is Dad? He should be with them, and where are the ANBU that were assigned to guard the place? I can't wait any longer. The more time it goes, the more the Kyuubi escape. I must try to defeat him and reseal the seal before the Kyuubi escapes completely. Damn it, father, where the hell are you? He thought, frowning, his mind racing through hundreds of possible outcomes. Whoever you are, I will not ask again. Who are you? Where is my little sister, and what do you intend to do with my mother? He asked, scowling. Who I am does not concern you, Naruto-kun. What I want is peace in this wretched world. Where is your sister? I don't know. Your wretched father Hiroshined her away, and what I want to do with your mother, I plan to release the Kyuubi and control it to destroy your damned village, the masked man explained. He then heard a scream from his mother and saw that the Kyuubi was almost out of its seal. Not willing to waste any more time with meaningless talk, he unsealed his tanto and rushed towards the man. The masked man smirked behind his mask when he saw Naruto rushing towards him. He had heard of the boy's fierce reputation, and to tell that he was impressed was an understatement. He had observed the boy through Black Zetsu to see if he had the potential to join the group he will create soon in the future. From Zetsu's observations, the boy was a never-before-seen prodigy, who if given time could come close to match even his master's strength. The boy is in the ANBU at just 8 years old for Kami's sake. But what truly caught his attention was the boy's intense desire for peace, which was shared by his friend Izumi Uchiha. He was certain that he would try to get the girl to join his cause in the future, but if he could make the boy see his vision of peace and join him, then his goal of attaining true peace was sure to be 100% reachable. Even if he was going to kill the boy's mother and father and destroy the entire village, he was certain that Naruto will see his reason and realize that one must make certain sacrifices to achieve true peace. But first I must test his skills myself. Then I will decide if I should offer him the chance, the masked man thought, getting into a battle stance. Running quickly, Naruto performed a series of hand seals ending with monkey and shouted, "Futon, Kamisori Kaze, wind style, razor winds." He then expelled high-speed razor-sharp wind at the masked man. The man dodged the jutsu with skilled precision. Not giving the man time to adjust, Naruto quickly reached him and started swiping at the man with his tanto with great mastery of the sword. But the man seemed to be predicting his strikes. He narrowed his eyes at the man's mask and was shocked to see one crimson eye shining through the hole. With that, he jumped back to maintain a distance from the man. Naruto now thoroughly analyzed the situation. Clearly the man was an Uchiha or had got the Sharingan in a transplant like Kakashi. Knowing that he had to up his ante and that he had very few time until the Kyuubi is released, Naruto brought out his ace jutsu. He took out a Hiraishin kunai from his pouch and held it in his left hand and the tanto in his right. It seems that I would have to catch him off guard to have a chance to connect, he thought, tightening his grip on the Hiraishin kunai. Once again he charged towards the man, and midway through, he threw the tri-pronged kunai at the man's head, who dodged the kunai, but in an instant Naruto teleported towards the kunai and stabbed his tanto through the man's heart. It's over, Naruto thought tiredly, but was soon shocked to see no blood coming from him and that his tanto had passed through the man without even scratching him. Using the blonde's shock to his advantage, the man phased through the tanto, grabbed it, and threw it towards the boy. Naruto was barely able to dodge his own tanto at the last second, but it had cut his shoulder, which was now bleeding. Brilliant, Naruto-kun, you truly live up to your reputation, maybe even beyond that. Just 8 years old and already so strong to give me of all people a run for my money. If you are this strong now, I pity the unfortunate soul that is your enemy in the future. Now let us be civilized and talk about this. I have a proposition for you. I wish for you to join me in my quest for true peace, the masked man offered. Naruto winced at the pain on his right shoulder and applied pressure with his left hand to stop the bleeding. Hearing the man's words, Naruto scowled and replied, "You quest for peace and all you are doing now is destruction. How can you preach peace when you are killing innocent people?" Hearing the blonde's words, the man chuckled and said, "The people of this village are everything but innocent, Naruto-kun. Some of the monstrosities that certain people of this village has done will leave you with a sour mouth. There are only certain people like you and I that are destined to bring a change to this world. I assure you that the peace I offer is not based on pure destruction. Now I think you should try considering my offer." Seeing that the QB is only minutes away from escaping, Naruto replied determinedly, "You seriously think that I would join you after what you did to my mother and sister? However, your proposition of true peace is really enticing and I would have had considered it if the situation had not come to this, but I must refuse because I will protect my family at all costs." Frowning that the blonde did not accept his offer but somewhat satisfied that he had said that he would have considered his offer, the masked man said, "For the greater good, some sacrifices must be made, Naruto-kun, and we both know it. I am disappointed that you did not accept my offer, but I know that you will come to see the way to true peace and join me eventually. But now we are at crossroads and I will not allow you to interfere with my goal." With that said, his lone Sharingan flared to life. Growling, Naruto replied, "My mother was sacrificed once to become the QB's host, but I would not let her life be sacrificed again. Yes, we are indeed at crossroads and only one of us will cross the road and that would not be you, because I will rather die than let you harm her." With that said, he charged again towards the man, forming a Rasengan in his right hand. He quickly reached the man and pushed the Rasengan into him only for it to phase right through him. He had already figured out the man's technique and knew that he cannot attack back when in his phased condition. He took the palm kunai in his left hand knowing that he could only do a few more Harasshin before his mind could not keep up with him. He cursed himself for not mastering the Harasshin to minimize the chakra and mental exhaustion. He silently vowed to rectify that problem in the future. Aware of the fact the QB is only seconds away from release, the man needed to take care of the blonde who had been Harasshining left and right to attempt to strike at him, immediately. Heavily panting, Naruto knew his mind would only be willing before he lose consciousness to perform one or two more Harasshin. "I must end this now. I hope this works," he thought. Running, he threw the kunai in front of the man and Harasshined there, charging a Rasengan. The man phased through the blonde's Rasengan and threw a hand to jab at the back of the boy's head to render him unconscious. Knowing that victory was his, he told the blonde, "Got you now, Naruto-kun." But suddenly the blonde teleported to the back of the man because he had thrown an Harasshin kunai there before the attack. "How?" the man thought. "No, got you," the blonde countered as he brought the Rasengan to the man's back. But before he could connect it to the man, with a loud roar the QB finally escaped the seal and jumped down to touch the ground. The vibrations threw him off course and he only got to brush the Rasengan against the man's arm. That was a close one. The boy is really something, although I had been going easy on him. If it hadn't been for the QB I would have been defeated. But it seems that he is now unconscious. I'll let him be for now and recruit him in the future now to deal with the QB, the man thought, gazing upon the very furious-looking QB no Kitsune. He activated the Mangekyo Sharingan and used the Koto Amatsukami to put the QB under his control. He turned to give the blonde boy one final word before he summoned the QB to wreak havoc in Konoha. Before he moved, he heard a hoarse voice call out, "Wait." He was a little stunned to see that the woman was still alive. He turned to her and said, "You Uzumaki are truly amazing. You do not die even if the tailed beast is removed." He looked up to the QB and said, "You were his Jinchuriki, so I'll make him kill you, and also, thank you for your son by the way." With that he gave the QB the command to kill her. Naruto shakily opened his eyes, his mind was screaming at him in pain. He faintly heard a conversation going on, and saw much to his intense relief that his mother had survived the extraction. But his face soon turned to one of horror when he saw the QB bringing his hand down to crush his mother. He was helpless as he watched it, but soon was relieved to see his father Harasshining her out of harm's way. But it seems that his father had not noticed him because he suddenly teleported away. Chuckling, the man turned to him and said, "It seems to me that your father left you, Naruto-kun. Why do you fight for people who not even try to put some effort to save you? I would advise you to stay away from Konoha and recover, because I have great plans for your future. Until then, sayonara." With that he and the QB warped away. Naruto got up shakily. He now only had about 1/4 of his initial chakra and he could not use the Harasshin again for quite some time because his mind could not take any further stress. With his sensory skills, he can tell that the QB had reached inside the village. He then began to slowly make his way to the village because his body was exhausted and the deep wound he had received in his shoulder was restraining his speed. Kanahigaku no Sato. Minato Namikaze with a heavy heart was now standing in front of his daughter who was placed on a sealing stone. He had teleported his wife away before she was crushed by the QB. He had seen his son fighting the masked man when he reached the clearing moments before the QB was fully released. He did not try to teleport his son with him because he knew from the last statement of the man that he would not kill him and because his wife was clearly in a critical state and needed rest immediately. He was very proud of his son. He had seen the end attack of his and knew his son would have won if not for the interference of the QB. He had used a similar version of the last attack that his son had used to defeat the masked man. He hoped that his son was alright and that he would forgive his father for leaving him there. He looked towards his back to see the Kyuubi restricted by his wife's chakra chains. He was going to seal the Yang chakra into his daughter, and the Yin chakra into himself through the Shiki Fuin Jutsu by sacrificing his own life. He had managed to convince Kushina, who was against the idea at first, but upon seeing that there was no other way, she agreed reluctantly. He also did not want to do this to his daughter. He knew of the difficulties Jinchurikis have to face in life, but he stood by his decision, knowing that her brother will take good care of her. He needed to hurry the sealing because he knew that his son will not allow him to sacrifice his sister. He stood in front of his wife and daughter and began doing the hand seals for the Shiki Fuin. After going through a few hand seals, he felt the menacing appearance of the Shinigami behind him. He felt a commotion outside and saw the Sandaime and 2 Chunins try and get inside the barrier placed by him, which was only transparent from the inside. Outside the barrier, Naruto reached the place where he felt the Kyuubi and noticed the Sandaime and 2 Chunins standing there. Inside the barrier, he saw the Kyuubi being held by his mother's chakra chains. He then noticed his father standing in front of his kneeling mother and saw a small bundle in front of them. He saw his father summoning a sealing stone and placing his sister on it, and to his absolute horror saw him going through a number of hand seals which he was all too familiar with and shout, "Reaper Death Seal!" He then noticed the Kyuubi shrink in size and a seal forming on his father's stomach. He then noticed his father turn to the sealing stone his sister was placed and instantly knew what his intentions were. "There is no time to show myself to the Sandaime, I'm going in." He then disappeared in a yellow flash. Inside the barrier, Minato had just sealed the Yin part of the Kyuubi's chakra into himself and was experiencing excruciating pain because of the intensity of the chakra. He turned to seal the rest into his daughter, but before he could do it, an enraged voice stopped him in his tracks. "What the hell do you think you are doing, father?" Naruto asked angrily. Minato replied, panting, "I am going to seal the Yang part of the Kyuubi into Nariko. Konoha is now weak because of the Kyuubi's attack, and without a Jinchuriki it will be more weak if I do not do this. The Kyuubi will destroy the rest of the village without a host." He snarled and replied, "I will not let you sacrifice my sister even if the whole world is at stake if you do not do this." He then heard his mother's tired voice say, "We do not like this as much as you, Naruto-chan, but you must understand the..." He cut off his mother's words, saying through gritted teeth, "What should I understand? You know as well as everyone the life of a Jinchuriki, and I will not let her suffer." His father told him, panting, "She will not be alone, Naruto-kun. We know that you will look after. The reasons you give are futile. I will not let you condemn a soul for the sake of others, let alone my sister. I will stop this." He spat out the words and moved towards his sister. Before he could reach her, the Kyuubi tried to kill his sister to avoid being sealed inside her. But his father and mother jumped in front of the Kyuubi's claw and got impaled through their stomach by it, saving his sister. Naruto was shell-shocked. His mother and father were dying before him. He watched with a heavy heart and water eyes as they told their last words to his sister. Their speech were truly heartbreaking, and hearing it, he understood the pain they must be suffering in doing the sealing. He knew what they were going to do was the right thing, but he still couldn't get over the pain of losing them. They then turned their heads towards him. Slightly crying, his mother told him, "I know you do not agree with our decision, Naruto-chan, but please look after your little sister. Know that we both love you." Following his mother, his father told him, "Your sister is one destined to do great things. I believe she is the child of prophecy. Jiraiya-sensei told me. You grew to become a great shinobi, Naruto-kun, and we both are very proud for having you as our son. I am sorry, but I must do this." With that said, he turned to seal the rest of the Kyuubi into his daughter. Meanwhile, during the entire speech, the Shinigami was in an intense thought. The Shinigami, due to being an omnipresent death god, could see the past, present, and future. He knew of the plans of a certain old Uchiha. While normally, he did not interfere with the mortal world, but this plan to place all people in an everlasting dream which will freeze the mortals in a lifeless state but they do not die, thus in a way making them immortal, and that was not acceptable to him, because if the mortals do not die, how could he collect their souls? The death god then looked at Naruto intently. He could sense an immense power in the mortal boy that was waiting to be unleashed. If he helped the boy unleash that power, he could stop the Uchiha mortals' plan using the boy. He could seal the boy away in the demon world, which is controlled by him, to gain strength by surviving the harsh demon world until the boy was strong enough. The Shinigami then saw the father of the boy turning to seal away the rest of the Kyuubi into his daughter, and the boy running towards him to stop it. Naruto was not able to reach on time as his father sealed the Kyuubi in his sister. Knowing that he had failed, he fell to his knees. He asked hoarsely, "Why?" He watched as his mother and father smiled sadly at him and mouthed a sorry before the light left their eyes and their bodies fell to the ground lifelessly. Crawling towards his newborn sister, he took her in his arms. With tears falling out of his eyes, he said, "I'm sorry for not being strong enough to stop the fate you had received. But I vow on my life that I will not let a hair fall on you in the future." Suddenly a cold feeling washed over him. He looked up to see the horrifying presence of the Shinigami in front of him who had made himself visible to Naruto. "It seems you are very determined to protect your sister. But how far will you go to achieve that goal?" The demonic voice of the Shinigami was heard, startling him. He quickly snapped out of his fear for his sister's sake. "Death god or not, I am not going to let him hurt my sister," he thought determinedly. "What do you mean?" he asked, wondering what the Shinigami meant by his statement. "There is a certain person who plans to bring about a false version of peace in this world. To achieve his plans, he will need to extract the bijus sealed in Jinchurikis like your sister, killing them," the death god replied. But why are you telling me all this?" he asked in suspicion. "I want you to come with me to the demon world to train to be strong enough to stop the mortals' plan," the Shinigami replied. "I could get strong on my own. Why should I trust you?" he asked the death god. "You will not be strong enough to stop the man if you stay in this realm, and to why should you trust me because you have few other choices?" the Reaper god told him. Naruto was lost in thought. His sister's life was in danger if what the Shinigami said was true. He was not even able to defeat the masked man. If the person after the bijus was as strong as the Shinigami told him, he doubted if he could stop him. If it meant that he would be strong enough to protect his sister, he very reluctantly agreed to go with the death god. He looked downwards to his baby sister. His sister looked like an angel. She had 3 cute whiskers marks on either side of her face while he had none. She had her mother's violet eyes and brighter blonde hair than her father, while his hair was not that bright blonde and had red at the tips on the 2 bangs on either side of his face. He picked her up and placed her in between his parents. He gave their lifeless bodies a small smile in agony and said, sniffling, "I know you can hear me from heaven, Ka-san. Tu-san, you did what you had to do and you have nothing to apologize for. I am sorry for the harsh words I said out of anger. You sacrificed your lives to protect her. Now, I am going to train to become strong enough to protect her too. I will not let your sacrifice be for nothing. Goodbye, until we meet on the other side." He then leaned to kiss his baby sister on the forehead and said, "Don't worry, Amuro will be watching over you. Know that I love you and will return to protect you when I'm strong enough." He then turned towards the Shinigami and gave a small nod. "I'm ready." With that, they both vanished from the mortal world. After they left, the barrier was released. The Sandaime and the guards went inside to see the fourth and his wife's lifeless body holding their daughter. He had not seen what had happened inside the barrier but knew the newborn was the Yondaime's. He gently picked up the girl and confirmed from the seal on her stomach that Minato had sealed the Kyuubi into her. He knew of the difficulties that she will have to face in the future and vowed to look after her. Holding the now crying baby, he searched for her big brother but could not find him anywhere. "Where are you, Naruto-kun? She needs her big brother," he thought, not knowing that the blonde had sacrificed himself for the sake of the girl he was holding. "I am Naruto Namikaze, brother to the Kyuubi's Jinchuriki, and I am a sacrifice." It has been 7 years since the Kyuubi's attack on the Hidden Leaf, and its defeat at the hands of the 4th Hokage. Though considerably weakened after the attack, Konoha have now gone back close to its former strength. But it still suffers the loss of the Yondaime. The Sandaime, Sarutobi Hiruzen, retook the Hokage position after Minato's death. The people of Konoha were told that the Kyuubi was killed by Minato and Naruto, whom died killing it. But the guards who were with the Sandaime, who had seen the seal on Noriko, who was raised in an orphanage and was given her mother's maiden name by the Sandaime, because of the assassination attempts that the newborn will have to face if Minato's enemies know that his daughter was still alive, leaked out to the villagers that the Yondaime did not kill the Kyuubi and that he sealed it in Noriko. The third place Noriko being in Jinchuriki as an S-rank secret and ordered the execution of anyone who broke the law. But still the villagers and some ninjas saw the girl as a demon and told their kids to not associate with her. While the rest of the ninjas, who knew that she was only the Kyuubi's host and not the Kyuubi itself, did not see her as a demon and chose to just ignore her existence. The people of Konoha took the death of Minato's and Naruto's hard, while the people of Iwa celebrated the death of the fourth and his family. The ninjas of Iwa celebrated Naruto's death more than Minato's because even if they hated Minato for killing several hundreds of their ninjas while Naruto had only killed far less of them, they had feared the boy's immense potential and knew that he would be more dangerous than his father in the future. So they were ecstatic to know that Naruto was dead and that he would not be a problem for them in the future. There was widespread mourning on one village and huge celebration on the other, while Kumo and Kuri stayed silent but were secretly glad to have them gone. But the Raikage son, of Kumo, was a little upset of Minato's and Naruto's death because he had thought of them as great shinobis and had respected them. Naruto's death was the most hardest for the people of Konoha to take. His body was not found, so they thought it got incinerated by the Kyuubi's attack. All of them were very saddened because of the boy's untimely death at such a young age and the lose of his huge potential which was not fully reached because of his death. Kakashi was devastated because of the death of his sensei, and of the boy he had seen as a little brother. He had somewhat gotten over his guilt and depression over Obito's and Rin's death, but the death of Naruto made him fall into depression again. Kurenai, Enko, Asuma, Guy, his former classmates and his ANBU team members were also hit hard by Naruto's death. Tsunade and Shizen, who learned of Naruto and his family's death, were heartbroken. They could not believe that the one they had seen as a nephew and little brother was dead. Tsunade tried to drown herself in more alcohol ever since, and did not go to see the burial because she didn't think that she could take seeing their lifeless bodies. Jiraiya was also bummed out by the death of his godson and student, and tried to drown himself in his spy work to try to forget about it. Day of Uchiha Massacre. Noriko Uzumaki was currently sitting on the bed in her small apartment given to her by the Sandaime when she was kicked out of the orphanage. She didn't know why all the villagers were so mean to her. She had seen the constant glares they pointed at her. She couldn't even have friends her age because when she tries to approach the kids her age, their parents forces them away from her, saying that she was a bad influence. The only one that had shown her affection was Old Man Hokage, who she sees as a grandfather, and a weasel mask wearing ANBU women who protects her from the villagers and sometimes leaves food at her doorsteps. But the ANBU women had not talked to her one word. She always disappears before Noriko could ask her why she was helping her. She had joined the academy 2 years ago, and hoped that she could make friends there. But everyone sees her as a dead last and makes fun of her, calling her an orphan. The only ones who were at least somewhat friends with her was the children of the clan heads minus Sasuke Uchiha, who was indifferent towards her. She looked around her room to see ramen cups lying here and there. She had an obsession towards Ichiraka ramen, and considered it the food of gods. The people at Ichiraka's did not see her as a nuisance. Old Man Tucci and Ayam-nichan were always kind to her and gave her ramen to eat for free most of the times. She then noticed a photo that was placed on her desk. She had found the photo on the Hokage's office and asked Hiruzenjiji whose photo it was. He had told that it was the photo of the 4th Hokage and his family taken a few days before their death. He had given it to her when she asked him if she could have the picture of her idol and his family. She took the picture in her hands and gazed at it. In it showed the 4th Hokage standing on the left and a beautiful woman standing on the right, both with one hand placed on the shoulders of a boy standing in the middle. She then noticed the woman had a big bump on her stomach indicating that she was pregnant. She then looked at the young boy and blushed slightly. He was very cute and handsome with a lean face and slender body. He had blonde hair and blue eyes like his father, with 2 long blonde bangs which ended in slight red color like his mother's hair on either side of his face. He was wearing ANBU armor and black shinobi pants. It was taught in the academy that the Yondaime and his son died defeating the Kyuubi, and also his wife and unborn daughter died during childbirth. It was also taught that the Yondaime's son was a once-in-a-generation prodigy, and that he was the youngest ANBU member reaching the position at 7 years old, and that he died when he was 8 years old fighting the Kyuubi, but his body was not found. She gazed at him sadly. To have died so young was so sad. She then put the picture away and went to brush her teeth, so that she could get ready for the academy. Ninja Academy. Iruka Yumino was currently teaching his students about the various shinobis of the past. So that was how the battle between Lord Mu, the second Tsuchikage, and Lord Genjutsu, the second Mizukage, ended. He finished his story, which was a biography about the clan illusionist, Genjutsu, and his battle with Mu of the Dust Style. He then looked up from his book and saw that most of his students were half asleep, much to his irritation. He used his angry head no jutsu and shouted, "Everyone, wake up now." He then saw them waking up, stretching. He put his hands on his hips and said, "How many times have I told you kids to not sleep in my class?" "But sensei, that story was so lame," Ino Yamanaka, daughter of the Yamanaka clan head, said, whining. "Yeah, Iruka sensei, that battle was so boring." Kiba Inuzuka, the son of the matriarch of the Inuzuka clan, began exasperatedly. "We didn't even get to see a winner. In the end they both died of chakra exhaustion because both of them could not attack each other because of their techniques." How lame is that? He finished, leaning his head back. His ninja Akameru confirming his words with a bark. "Yeah, and that Genjutsu guy is so lame. Just look at him. He is dressed like a clown, just like Nariko Baka over there," a civilian girl said, looking at the picture of Genjutsu he had placed on the board to show them how he looks. Hearing the girl's statement, the whole class except a few began laughing at Nariko. "Why, I resent that. I do not look like a clown," Nariko shouted angrily. "Your outfit looks just like a clown's this time," a civilian boy replied. "What are you saying, Dadabayo? My dress is awesome, she replied loudly. Yeah, keeping saying that to yourself, clown, a girl said, snickering, and most of the class began laughing again. Why, you little, I'll show you who the clown is, Nariko replied, gritting her teeth. Before things could escalate further, Iruka cleared his throat and said, Now, class, calm down. He saw that Nariko had relaxed but was still angry from the expression on her face. I will let you choose the next legendary shinobi you want me to show the biography on, he said. We want to hear about Yandame-sama's son. His story was the most cool, a girl said excitedly, and the rest of the class quickly agreed with her. Upon hearing the girl's request, Iruka was lost in thought. Back when he was in the academy, Iruka was on the same class as Naruto Namikaze. Iruka was a bit of a hothead at that time. He, along with most of the boys of his class, was extremely jealous of Naruto because of him being the Hokage's son, and because of his immense skills at such a young age. He and his friends had tried to get on Naruto's nerves, calling him a little kid and saying that little kids like him would not be a ninja. But Naruto had always turned the other ear to their insults and kept silent, not complaining to anyone. It was Naruto's friend Yugao Mizuki that had often made them stop their insulting, threatening to bang their heads on the desks if they don't. He admit that he is scared shitless of that woman. Nowadays, knowing that she was in the ANBU, he sometimes subconsciously looks at the shadows to see if she was there hiding, spying on him to see if he was trying to bully another poor kid. He and the rest of his class were shocked when they heard that Naruto became a genin. A genin at only 5 years and 7 months of age. Iruka had been determined to become a genin and passed the genin exam with a few of his other classmates after a few months at 12 years old. But then he heard that Naruto had become a chunin at 6 years and 6 months old, and gave up trying to match him, knowing that the boy was on a whole other level than him. After a few months later, when he was still doing D-rank missions that he had hated so much back then, he heard that Naruto was inducted into the ANBU at the age of 7 years and 5 months, making history as the youngest ANBU member. It was when he was about 14, when the Kyuubi attacked the village. His parents had died on that day. He was told that Naruto and his father died protecting the village, but his body was not found, indicating that it was destroyed by an attack by the Kyuubi. He was utterly saddened by his parents' death and had spent years in sorrow until the Sandaime got through to him by his kind words. He had then mellowed out. He analyzed his past life and the mistakes he had made. He then realized about the wrong he had done to Naruto. Naruto was a kind, caring and determined young boy, who did not even hurt a single fly, and he and the rest of the boys in his class had bullied him out of their jealousy and stupidity. He could not even imagine the courage, skill, and determination that must have took for Naruto to fight the Kyuubi along with his father at such a young age, knowing that he might die. While Iruka was unable to help his parents, and had been carried away to a safe place on the orders of his father despite his protests. He was heartbroken, knowing that he could not apologize to Naruto now that he was dead. He then thought of guiding the youth of tomorrow in honor of Naruto. He had trained hard and had reached Chunin and became an academy teacher a year ago. He wished that Naruto will forgive him in the afterlife. He was snapped out of his daydreaming by a voice calling, "Sensei, Sensei, Iruka Sensei." Snap out of it, he then noticed that the voice belonged to Nariko Uzumaki. Iruka had first seen the blonde girl as the Kyuubi that had killed his parents, and had resented her. But it was after his talk with the Sandaime that he had changed his views, realizing that the girl was only the Kyuubi's vessel and not the Kyuubi itself. He knew of the difficulty of the burden she carries and cares for her, but does not show it much because of his fear that the girl may get complacent. "Oh, I am sorry, Nariko-chan. I was a little lost in the past," he replied sheepishly, rubbing the back of his head. "Geez, Sensei, what were you thinking, by the way?" Nariko asked him. "It's nothing of importance, Nariko-chan," he said to her. He then asked to his class, "Who did you want to hear about again?" "We want to hear about the fourth son," his class shouted collectively. Okay, he agreed, and then went inside the poster section of his desk and took out a picture of Naruto Namikaze and stuck it on the board in the place of the picture of Genjutsu. The photo had been taken on the day Naruto joined with the ANBU. It was taken with him wearing slight civilian clothes. He was about 4'8" tall and had a lean yet fit body. He was wearing a white t-shirt underneath with a red unbuttoned coat on top of it. He was also wearing black shinobi pants. He had a very serious expression on his face, which according to his memories he always had, only slight lesser. He and his classmates had dubbed his stoic and impassive expression as the face of death back in the academy. The mask of a kitsune given to him by the ANBU was attached to the left of his waist. He was holding a moderate-sized Rasengan on his left hand and a Rasen kunai on his right. He also had a tanto attached to his back. "Whoa, he looks so cool," a girl said excitedly, seeing the poster. The whole class agreed with the girl's statement. Naruto did look like a total badass in the picture. And so handsome, a chorus of girls squealed in unity. Now settle down, girls, Iruka said to calm them down. This was the reason why he had hesitated to show that poster. Naruto was a chick magnet even when he was 5 years old. A poster of a 8-year-old him in such a stylish pose was not a good thing to be shown to fangirls if you want to avoid them drooling on the desks. Sensei, tell us more about him, a civilian boy asked. He cleared his throat and began. Where to begin on? Naruto is the son of the 4th Hokage, Minato Namikaze, he said sagely, rubbing his chin. But we already know that. Tell us something we don't know about him, another shouted. Let's see, he was born on December 31 and was a never-before-seen prodigy. He joined the academy at 4 years old. He became a genin at 5 years and 7 months, chunin at 6.5 years old. He was inducted into the ANBU at 7 years and 5 months old as a part of the Hokage's personal elite ANBU team row. He was the youngest ANBU member. He paused and was pleased to notice that everyone was paying rapt attention. Good, maybe I can add some more personal details about Naruto-san that only ninjas of high chunin level and above know about, he thought, deciding to make the class more interesting for his students. He was trained by his parents and several elite ninjas, including one of the 3 legendary Sannin, he told them. Hua, he was trained by a Sannin. He must have been freaking strong. How strong was he, sensei? Kiba asked him excitedly. Sannin? What's a Sannin? Nariko asked him. She had no clue what it was. Is Sannin a ramen topping, she asked. Everybody in the class face faulted at her question. You would have known who a Sannin is if you would have paid attention to class at least once, Nariko Baka Sakura Banshee screamed at her. Come on, Sakura-chan, give me a break. You don't have to be mean, Nariko said, pouting. She really wanted to be friends with Sakura because she knew that despite the insults that the pink-haired girl throws at her sometimes, she was still a nice girl. Moving on, Iruka interrupted the argument. Naruto was skilled in all types of jutsus and was an exceptional kenjutsu user. He was also skilled in the Raishin no Jutsu. He had done 133 missions with a success rate of 92% overall. He has done 32 A rank and 5 S rank missions. He was very feared about the other nations and was known as the Rayon no Konoha. He died along with his father, the Yellow Flash, defeating the Kyuubi. It was said that his body was not found, he said, finishing his story. Many of the kids had small moisture in their eyes. They had heard the story about Naruto's death before, but it still was tear-inducing. He was only a year older than them when he died. That part still gets me in the end, even after the times my father have told me about it, Yamanaka Ino said, sniffling. The rest of the class agreed with her. But sensei, how do you know so much about him? Sakura asked him. I know because I used to be in his class when I was 11, Sakura, he replied. Don't lie, Iruka-sensei, Nariko told him cheekily. But I am not lying. I really was in his class, Iruka told her, sighing tiredly. Nobody believes me, he thought to himself bitterly. Really, that is so cool, Nariko said excitedly. Will you please tell me how he was like? Like his behavior and all, she finished hopefully. After some thought, Iruka replied, I am afraid that is not possible because Naruto-san was a person who I respect a lot, and it would be wrong of me to tell others about his personal information without his consent. But sensei, he is dead. So how can we get his personal consent? Nariko asked. She really wanted to hear more about the life of one of her idols. I am sorry, Nariko-chan, but I can't. Maybe Sasuke-kun can tell you more. His sister was friends with Naruto, he replied, taking the attention off him and onto Sasuke. Really, Sasuke-team, why didn't you tell us that your sister was friends with the Yandame's son? Nariko asked Sasuke Uchiha, who was sitting on the back bench of the class. Meanwhile, upon hearing Iruka's last statement, Sasuke was in a trance. He had not known that his sister was friends with the 4th son. She was always somewhat distant in the family. She had a sad and distant look in her eyes all the time. The only time that he had seen her smile at least slightly was when she sees him. Maybe it was the 4th son's death that had made her so sad, he thought. He promised himself to ask his sister about Naruto. Snapping out of his thoughts by Nariko's question, he replied in an irritated voice, I do not know, Doe. Stop bothering me and mind your own business. Hey, what's that supposed to mean? Team Nariko asked, but he did not reply. With that, the academy bell rang, signifying the end of the history class. Now kids, that is the end of today's class. Now go to your homes, Iruka said, and they all left to their respective houses. Not even one person saw a certain weasel mask wearing ANBU hiding in the shadows, looking at Naruto's poster with a look of sadness and longing in her eye. The ANBU, upon seeing that Sasuke was leaving, shined away to the Uchiha district. Night, time of Uchiha massacre. A pair of Mangekyo Sharingans were currently gazing upon the entrance to the Uchiha clan head's room. Izumi Uchiha had been assigned to assassinate her clan because the members of her clan were planning on taking over the leaf. The Uchiha clan had grew restless because of their isolation in the village caused by the Nidaime Hokage. Their bitterness only grew because those who fought the Kyuubi during the attack had noticed that it was controlled and suspected the Uchihas, further isolating them. That had been the tip of the iceberg for them, and the Uchiha clan led by her father had secretly planned to revolt against the leaf. However, she could not let it happen because it would break the peace within the village. A peace her Naruto had died protecting. Izumi had been mortified when she had heard Naruto died fighting the Kyuubi. They could not even find his body. She had locked herself in her room and cried herself to sleep that night. She did not eat or drink for days. Her mother, who was also very saddened by the death of her best friend and the boy she had seen as a nephew, had tried to comfort her. Although she had went back to her early life, she never fully got past Naruto's death. She became very silent and distant towards her family and friends. She developed a cold, stoic and impassive disposition towards others. Her little brother Sasuke, who she loved very much, was the only one that had gotten to see her caring side after the Kyuubi's attack. After letting out that her clan was planning a coup to the Sandaime and his personal advisors, Danzo had assigned her to spy on her clan to extract details about the rebellion. Knowing that there was no way for the coup to be avoided, Danzo had given her an ultimatum: either kill her clan on her own, in which case her brother will be spared, or he would use his root ninjas to kill them without her help, in which case she and her brother will also be killed. She had chosen the former. Izumi was now standing in front of the room of her mother and father. She was holding a tanto covered in blood from killing the people of her clan. She knew that she could not kill all the people of her clan on her own, and had asked the help of a masked man who introduced himself as Madara Uchiha to her. He had held a grudge against the Uchiha clan and agreed to help her on the condition that she join a group formed by him consisting of missing ninjas called the Akatsuki. She accepted his terms, and he had assured her that he would not attack her brother. She mentally steeled herself and entered the room and saw her parents sitting on the floor, their gazes opposite from her. She stepped behind them preparing her tanto, and her father spoke calmly. "I see, so you have aligned with the other side." "Mother, father," she began, speaking with a low voice. She continued, but was cut off by her mother saying, "We already know Izumi-chan." "Izumi-chan, just promise me this," her father spoke. Startled by her father's statement, she looked at him. "Promise me that you will take care of Sasuke," her father told her. Hearing that with watery eyes and shaky hands, she replied hoarsely, "I will." Sensing her hesitation, Fugaku spoke to reaffirm her, "Do not fear it. This is the path you have chosen. Compared to yours, our pain will be over in an instant. Our philosophies may differ, but I am still proud of you." Listening to her father's words, Izumi was now silently crying, and her tears were falling on the tanto she was now holding with both hands. "You are truly a kind child," her father spoke his last words to her. Mentally getting a hold of herself, she quickly slit both their throats, giving them a fast, painless death. She looked back to see the door slightly open and saw her little brother's head popping through the parted door. She then saw his face getting a stunned look when he saw their parents lying dead on the floor. She then saw him step towards their lifeless bodies and heard him ask himself in a shaking voice, "What happened here? Who did this?" She then stepped out of the shadows, schooling her face into a motionless look. Her brother, upon noticing her presence, asked her, "Izumi-nichan, who did this?" "Who else but I," she replied, much to her brother's shock. Shaking heavily, Sasuke asked in a pained voice, "Why?" "To test my skills. To rate myself against others of my clan," she replied in a monotone voice. "Why, Aniki, I thought you loved me," Sasuke asked in a shaky voice. "You assumed that. I was merely trying to judge your skills to deem if you are a worthy opponent for me. And I find you to be too weak even to die by my hands. So, live the rest of your pitiful life knowing you are a failure," she said coldly. She then knocked him out with a genjutsu and left her brother lying on the floor. Izumi was now on the streets a little far away from her house. She was still a little shaken because of her parents' death by her clan, but she knew that her brother had gotten it the worst. She then sensed a presence behind her and saw her brother running to catch up with her with tears falling out of his eyes. She turned around and saw a pair of one-tomoed Sharingans. She knew she was going to hate herself for what she was about to do, and Sasuke was going to hate her more for it. "It seems that you have gotten out of the genjutsu that I had placed on you," she said to him. Snarling, Sasuke said, "I will not allow you to get away with this." He then charged towards her to attack her. Izumi dodged his sloppy attack with ease and gave a punch to his stomach, making him fall to his knees holding his stomach. She then grabbed him by the throat, slightly chocking him, and lifted him up to bring him level with her face. With a cold look she said, "You do not possess enough hatred to kill me. There is no pleasure in killing the likes of you, my foolish little brother. If you want to kill me, hate me and despise me and live a long and unsightly life now, by all means run away and cling to your pitiful life. And when someday, when you have the same eyes as I do." She paused and then activated her Mangekyo Sharingan, showing them to him. After the small pause, she continued her speech, "Come find me, until then live the rest of your worthless life that I had spared. Now, here is a little parting gift from me to give you more motivation." With that said, she used the Tsukuyami on him, showing him different ways she killed their parents for 3 days, which only took 3 seconds on the outside world. When she was done, Sasuke let out a pained scream and lost unconsciousness. She then dropped him to the ground. Izumi began to walk past the streets to exit the village. She then turned her head back slightly to look at her unconscious brother, a single tear falling from her eye. Not turning back, she left the village. 1 year later, Amigekure. A raven-haired woman with onyx-black eyes was silently watching the seemingly never-ending rain in aim. She was very beautiful and was wearing a blackish-blue battle kimono, and on her neck was an odd necklace. She had 2 tear marks on her face and had an Anbu tattoo on her right arm. She had 2 bangs on either side of her face, while the rest of her hair was tied to a ponytail on her back. She had a black cloak on with red clouds on top of the kimono, which was only buttoned at the middle. "It has been 1 year since that day," Izumi Uchiha said to herself, slightly coughing and drinking her medicine. Izumi was now a slowly dying woman. She had been diagnosed by the doctors she had visited with a rare disease that slowly eats away at your chakra when you use it excessively. The doctors had given her maybe 10 more years to live before she died, if she used her medicines, which could only delay the inevitable. Knowing that medicines could not cure it, she had resigned herself to her fate of dying. But she wished to die by Sasuke's hands, so that he could be seen as a hero who avenged the Uchiha clan. Her thoughts then went on to the Uchiha massacre. She and Madara had killed all the members of her clan except her little brother. She had done it because of the ultimatum that Danzo had given her: either kill her clan and save her brother or die along with the rest of her clan. She knew of Danzo's inner motives and had given him a warning before she left the village that if he so as touched her little brother, she would leak out the truth about the massacre to all the elemental nations. She knew she could not trust Danzo because Shursui had told her what Danzo did when he had came to her on that day to give her his other eye. She had known Shursui from when she was little. She had seen him as a close friend, second only to Naruto, who was not only her best friend but more. When Naruto had died, she had shut herself off from the rest of the world. It was with the combined efforts of Shursui and her mother that had made her come out of her room. But she had maintained an unapproachable shell about her after that. Shursui and her mother were the only ones who could see past her facade. They knew despite the tough act she puts on in front of others, she was still broken inside because of Naruto's death. Shursui was in constant support to her throughout the years and had been a very good friend. She had gradually came to see him as her best friend. Then came the day that she had watched him jump off the cliff to his death after he gave her his right eye. That was the day she had gained her Mangekyo Sharingans. "Naruto-kun," she said to herself in a pained breath when her thought went to Naruto. She still had not gotten over his death. She had cried herself to sleep that day when she heard that Naruto died. She only had come out of her room in time for the funeral ceremony. She had then cried her heart out in front of his empty grave when the funeral ceremony ended. Her parents did not stop her because they knew about her feelings concerned with Naruto. It was on that day that she had realized that she did not just have a puppy dog crush on Naruto, and that she was deeply in love with him. The following day she had nightmares about Naruto's death, and she would wake up in the middle of the night, out of breath. When she had finally come out of her room, she had adopted a silent and stoic demeanor. She had made a decision to honor Naruto's death by training hard and pushing herself to the limit. She wanted to join the ANBU, following Naruto's footsteps. She had fulfilled that dream. She became a Chunin at 10, joined the ANBU at 11, the second youngest to do so, and became an ANBU captain at 13. She made record as the youngest ANBU captain. She still had not let go of her dream of attaining peace someday. A dream that she had shared with Naruto. Her thoughts then went to the leaf. She wondered what Nariko was doing. Probably eating ramen, she thought with a small smile. When she became a Chunin, she was told the truth that the fourth and Naruto died sealing the Kyuubi into Nariko. She being the brilliant, analytical mind that she was quickly deduced that the fourth would only seal the Kyuubi into his own child. So that would make the child Naruto's little sister. Her talk with her mother also confirmed it. She was ecstatic to know that Naruto's little sister was still alive and had kept it a secret from others, knowing the consequences if she let that secret out. She knew the girl was the Kyuubi's vessel, but she did not see her as the demon that had killed Naruto like several others. The girl had not asked the fate she had received. She had promised on Naruto's grave that she would protect his little sister. She had protected the little girl from the villagers and had secretly left healthy foods, except ramen that the girl was obsessed with in Izumi's secret Pocky and Naruto-loving mind, sometimes at her door. She had joined the Akatsuki to better protect Nariko by spying on them for the leaf, when Madara had told her about their goal of gathering the Biju to attain peace. End goal being peace or not, she would not let them lay a finger on Naruto's little sister. She was snapped out of her thoughts by the voice of her partner. The ceremony for joining of the new member in our group is about to begin, Izumi-san. Kisame Hashigaki, former member of the Seven Swordsmen of the Mist, said to her. Yes, all right, she replied. She then got up and followed Kisame to the meeting place. She was partnered up with Kisame a few months ago when her former partner Juzo Biwa, who was also a former member of the Seven Swordsmen of the Mist, had died at the hands of the Yonde Mizukage, Yagura, during a mission. At first she had been tense about her partnership with Kisame. But then they had both found a common ground between them, which was their respect for each other's strength. Though she knew Kisame was a dependable partner, it would not mean that she would drop her guard around him because she knew that the man was a little crazy for battles. But who was she to judge? She knew that everyone in the shinobi world, including her, had at least a little craziness deep within their being. They were currently in aim for the welcoming ceremony for the new member of the Akatsuki. The new guy was meant to be the new partner for Sasori of the Red Sands after his former partner Orochimaru, the snake Sannin, betrayed and left the organization. The greedy snake thought that he could gain immortality by taking over her body. How foolish he was! She had caught him in a genjutsu and had cut his hand off, but before she could kill him, his lackey Kabuto had saved him and he had disappeared, swearing vengeance. She knew he would be a problem for her in the future and regretted not finishing him off earlier. We have reached the ceremony place, Kisame said to her. She looked to see that they had entered a place with many old statues. They then walked inside and saw all the remaining members of the Akatsuki, including the new guy standing there. Izumi, along with Kisame and Sasori, had been assigned to recruit the blonde. He was a former IWA Explosion Corps member who had defected and became a terrorist bomber. He had refused to join at first, but had agreed to join the organization if one of them defeats him. She had easily defeated him by trapping him in a genjutsu. He had then agreed to join them, although bitterly because of his defeat. It would seem all of us are here. So we can begin the welcoming ceremony, Pain, the leader of the Akatsuki said. Conan then came and gave the new guy his Akatsuki cloak. Before wearing that, you must forego all ties with your former village, he said stoically. Yeah, Deidara said mockingly. He took out a kunai from his pouch and slashed the stone symbol on the hide he was wearing on his head. He then put on his cloak and turned to face Pain. Let's make it clear, I won't stop in my pursuit of art, he said, crossing his arms. Do as you please, Pain replied. He then walked up to Deidara and continued, but now that you're a part of the Akatsuki, I expect you to fulfill your missions. He then gave Deidara a ring with the kanji for blue. All right. I got it, he said, wearing the ring. But he said, pointing his hand at Izumi. You over there. I'll never get caught up in your genjutsu again, It would seem he is still bitter about his defeat, Izumi thought. To ease his worries, she said in a calm voice, now that you're one of us, I doubt that I'll have to use my genjutsu on you. Still pointing his hand at her, he replied, I don't mind giving you a taste of my art, Izumi remained silent. Her final assessment of Deidara is that he is a complete idiot. When she had first met him, he very slightly reminded her of Naruto because of his blonde hair and blue eyes. But their similarities were finished at that. While Naruto was calm, wise and intelligent, this guy was just a complete buffoon. She was just sullying her Naruto's name when she compared him to Deidara. She was broken out of her thoughts by Sasori saying, leave it at that. Sasori Pain spoke, getting his attention. Partner with Deidara and go kill Orochimaru, he commanded. About time, he replied gleefully and began walking, in his case crawling, to the door to outside. Who is this Orochimaru? Deidara asked, dumbfounded. I'll tell you on the way, Sasori replied. Orochimaru has escaped into the land of wind. Beyond that, I don't know, Conan said to him. That's all I need to know. Let's go, he said to Deidara. You Akatsuki sure like to order guys around, Deidara said, fixing his hair. Hey! Hurry up, Sasori called back, exiting the room. I know, you darn hunchback, Deidara said, running out of the room. Izumi and Kisame, go to the hidden grass village, Pain said to them, and they both nodded. What about my partner? Kakuzu of the Five Hearts asked. He had killed his own partner in friendly fire according to Black Zetsu. Wait just a while longer, Pain replied. You all may now leave to do your missions, he finished and left along with Conan. With that they all left to do their respective missions. Demon World Cemetery. A young man was currently chasing after a demon through the graves. The man had blonde hair that fell on his face as two bangs with red hue up to 1/4 of them, and blue eyes. He was wearing a white t-shirt with a red coat over it, imagine Dante's dress in Devil May Cry. He was also wearing black pants with black sandals at his foot. He had 4 swords with him, 2 attached to his back in a crisscross pattern and the other 2 attached to his hip. He used the adamantine chakra chains inherited from his mother to bring the demon to the ground. Please don't kill me, the demon begged, crawling to try to get away from the demon killer. Seeing that the demon was trying to get away, the man took out one of his sword and stabbed it through the demon's leg. The demon roared in pain. Now, Abigor. Who said I was going to kill you? The blonde man said, twisting the sword inside his leg much to the demon's pain. But you had killed the rest of my kin, the demon now known as Abigor said. No, not all of them. I have yet to kill your leader. Now would you be a dear and tell me where his hideout is, and I will promise you a quick death, Naruto said calmly. The demon spitted at Naruto and said through gritted teeth, I will die before I rat out my kin, you darn demon slayer. Curse the day that damn Shinigami brought you here. Calmly wiping his face of the spit, the man said in a cold voice, death that can be arranged. But now I want information, and I know of a certain parrot that is begging for torture for him to tell me everything. Warning, excessive violence and gore. With that said, he took out 3 more swords and stabbed them through his hands and the other leg. Aarg, the demon screamed in pain. Willing to talk, little parrot, the man said emotionlessly. Damn you, Naruto, the demon said, snarling. What you want, a cracker? Poppy, the man now identified as Naruto, asked the demon. His eyes then turned cold and he told in a voice that froze the demon's blood, because I'm gonna do this all night until you chirp out what I want to hear. With that he cut the demon's leg out with the sword that was stabbed into it. He ignored the demon's scream and cut out his hand. He then began beating the demon's face in with it, saying, Tell me before I cut out your eyes next. Okay, I'll talk, please stop, the demon said in pain. Then tell me quickly, Naruto said. His name is Rourke. He lives in the Castle of Death. What you are looking for will be there. Please, that's all I know, the demon said tiredly. Now that was not bad, was it? You should have just told me earlier, little parrot. Now I will make your death quick. Saying that, he cut off his head. Naruto then retrieved all his sword that was stabbed in the demon and placed them in their positions. This was not a new experience for him. He had killed demons countless times since he came here. The Shinigami had left him in the demon world about 8 years ago. He only said 3 things to him before he left. That was to train, unlock his hidden abilities, and to try not to die. Initially he was horrified. The demon world called Limbo was a place that was in another dimension from the mortal world. In the demon world there were 2 types of beings, demons and spirits. The spirits were mostly harmless, and one friendly spirit named Gale had helped him initially to get to know about the demon world. Through Gale, he came to know that the portal to the mortal world was in the far end of the demon world, guarded by the king of demons, Rourke, and that no demons could escape through it because only a human can pass through it. He had then trained by defeating troublesome demons, and had unlocked all his hidden abilities. He had inherited his mother's chakra chains. He also had unlocked his affinities for yin and yang style, along with mastering his natural affinities for wind, lightning, and water. He also had mastered the Reishin no Jutsu and had also mastered his Eraton, storm release, bloodline, which combines all his natural affinities wind, lightning, and water. The Shinigami after a few years had visited him and had done visits once a year after that. Every time he visits, he would tell all that was happening in the mortal world. Last year, he had heard of the Uchiha massacre and also knew of Izumi's reason for doing it. He now had enough powers to face Rourke and get out of the demon world. I now only have one more obstacle before I can leave, Naruto thought as he traveled to the Castle of Death for his last battle in Limbo. Limbo, Castle of Death. Naruto was currently standing in front of the place where he could achieve his freedom. He slowly began to walk and open the gates. The Castle of Death was not really a castle but a large shrine, where the king of demons resided. He walked in and saw about 100 of demons with Rourke in between sitting on a throne in the far end. Rourke was about 10 feet tall with a humongous build. He had an ugly face with fangs like the rest of the demons. He had 4 arms and was carrying a big sword on his back. He easily identified the sword as the Urashi, the Night Storm. The Urashi was a legendary sword. It had the power to conduct and absorb all types of attacks including jutsus and even demonic chakra. It was said to be created by Kami-sama herself and was sentient. It would seem that the puny demon slayer has finally arrived to challenge me. The mocking demonic voice of Rourke was heard. It is nothing personal, but I would like to have your head at my feet, Naruto said in a monotone voice. You may try by all means, boy. But before you face me, you must defeat my minions, Rourke said to him. Fine by me, Naruto replied and began his massacre. He looked to the right and saw a group of 10 demons rushing towards him. He took out 2 of his swords and held them one with each hand. He dashed towards the first demon and cut his head off. He ducked the following punch and stabbed the second one with one sword and the third with the other. He then hurled them at the rest of the group, knocking them down. He went through a few hand seals and shouted, "Futon, decapitation blades!" All their heads were cut off. He then avoided the acid attack that was spit out by the second group aimed at him via ration. He then hurried to the middle of the second group, which was about 4 times that of the first. Raise and flash, death dance, he shouted, holding his ration kunai. In a flash, he killed all of them in a dance of death. With about half of his enemies down, he placed his ration kunai away and took out his sword. He then rushed to the third group of about 20 demons, which were somewhat bigger in size than the others he faced. Die, you son of a bitch, a demon cursed, slashing at him with a giant axe. Naruto did not like that statement. He was going to make sure that demon suffered. He put his sword in front of his face to block the axe swing. He then deflected it away and stabbed the demon through his stomach, pinning him to the wall. He was going to kill him slowly and painfully after he finished with the rest of his group. He then took out another sword from his back and blocked a strike from a meat cleaver. He then twisted the meat cleaver so it would mutilate the user itself. He then began systematically cutting and slicing the rest of the group of demons until only the first one remained. He then went up to the demon pinned on the wall, and on the way picked up the demon's own axe and several meat cleavers. He then cut him at several vital places with them, further pinning him. I normally don't do this. But you made me do this after you said a word that you should not have called me. He spoke with a cold look in his eye. Now go up in flames, he said, going through several hand seals and yelling, Eraton, lightning release Kin no Tora, golden tiger. After he shouted, he then spit out a golden tiger made out of wind, water and lightning. It first shocked the demon to the core, and then sliced his body into pieces, and then burned them to ashes in blue flames. I now lost all mood to test my kenjutsu skills because of him. Enough games, I am ending this now, Naruto said, and began amassing huge amounts of chakra. The last group of demons looked unscared as the sky became riddled with thunder and lightning. Naruto had finished gathering his chakra for the attack and now had blue glowing eyes that were brimming with power. Eraton, Inazuma, lightning strike, he shouted and let loose his chakra to the sky. Suddenly several bolts of lightning came from the sky and fried the rest of the demons, except Rourke, who was saved from the lightning strike by the Urashi because it absorbs all attacks, till death. It seems only you are left, Naruto said in an emotionless voice as he began closing his distance to the Demon King. Meanwhile, Rourke was terrified. He had thought that it would be an easy battle for him. But what the blonde mortal was capable of scared even him. He had only escaped death by lightning because of the Urashi. Just what is he, Rourke thought. I will not die today, Rourke roared out as he charged at Naruto, bringing his sword down at the smaller mortal. Naruto sidestepped the sword strike and brought his sword to Rourke's side, saying, Either will I. But Rourke easily grabbed his sword with one of his forearms. He then tried to punch Naruto with the other. Naruto barely had time to avoid the punch as he released his sword and somersaulted away. It would seem his arms are going to be a problem, he thought. He then took out his last sword from his back and held it in his right hand and a Raishin kunai in his left. Rourke looked on dumbfounded as the blonde disappeared in a flash. He then experienced pain in his arm and looked to see that it was cut off. Naruto had placed his Raishin seal on Rourke earlier when he attacked him. He cut off 2 of the demon's arms, but before he could cut off a third, he was stabbed through his heart by the Urashi. Your end will be by my hands, you bastard, Rourke said, snarling. But before he could finish him off, the Naruto he had stabbed dispersed off in a group of bats. He then experienced a pain through his heart and heard a monotone voice from behind him, No, your end will be by my hands. saying that Naruto cut Rourke's head off. He then reached down and picked up the Urashi. "Do you want to come with me?" he asked the sentient blade. He took the warm vibration from it as affirmative and strapped it on his back, leaving the other ordinary swords behind. He then spotted the portal to the human world and stepped towards it. He felt the familiar presence of the Shinigami behind him and looked back. "It would seem your training has come to an end," the Shinigami said to him. "Yeah, not thanks to you, by the way," Naruto replied, clearly annoyed by the death god's tardiness. "I only said before you agreed to come with me that I will let you train in the demon world. I did not say that I will train you myself," the Shinigami said, obviously trying and failing to hide his tardiness. Okay, you win. Now can I return back to my world?" Naruto asked calmly. "Yes, you can. Before I do that, I hope you remember the things we had agreed upon that you do when you reach there," the Shinigami said seriously. "Hi, I remember them," he replied. "Okay then. You may go now and try to leave your training with me a secret. I would continue doing my role as the Soul Reaper in the mortal world. You may call me in times of need with the help of the Shiki Fuin without the payment of your soul. Now go, you have a world to protect," the Shinigami told him. With that he went through the portal. Forest near Takigakure. A small vortex was formed out of nowhere, and from it a young man emerged. "It seems that I have landed on one of the elemental states. Now to gather information before I go to fulfill my plans," he thought to himself, and began walking to the nearest village. Kirigakure no Sato. A hooded man was jumping through the trees in the forest shrouded by thick mist. He was wearing a black t-shirt inside, and over it he had a blue haori with yellow designs and black flame patterns on the backside, with a hood that was a part of the blue haori. His face was shadowed by the hood, but you could still see the cold azure eyes through them. He was also wearing black shinobi pants and sandals. He had a medium-sized sword on his back. He scanned the area and saw all of the trees with dried leaves and some covered in blood. He saw fresh dead bodies lying on the ground, some with the hide for kirinines and some without them. He deduced the latter to be the bodies of bloodline rebels. So much unnecessary bloodshed. Is this what the world had come to since I left? Naruto thought bitterly. Naruto had spent the last 1 year gathering intel about all the things that had happened since he left. The Shinigami had only told him about the important things that had happened. The rest he had to find out on his own. He had also been working as a bounty hunter under the alias Ryu, means dragon, so that his identity as Namake's Naruto would be kept a secret. The fact that he always wore a hood helped in keeping his identity a secret. He also had trained in his weaknesses, so that he can be ready for anything when the time comes. Naruto was currently in Kirigakure no Sato, also called the Bloody Mist. He was here to confront the Yondaime Mizuki Jigura, who was controlled by Obito Uchiha under the alias Madara Uchiha. On how he knew about Obito. The Shinigami had told him all about Obito's and Madara's plans. The Shinigami also had given him instructions to stop their plan. Seriously, Naruto did not care shit about the Shinigami's plans. He was a man of his own decisions, and the Shinigami had no right to tell him what to do and don't. He had only acted to follow the Shinigami's plans, so that he could get strong enough to protect his little sister. Naruto sort of sympathized with the fates of Obito and Madara. He could also have gone down their paths, if he also had lost his most precious person to the fate of death. They were the victims of the cruelties of fate. They were only sacrificial sheeps for the master plan of someone else. Naruto knew that he should be angry with Obito and want revenge against him because Obito was indirectly responsible for his parents' death. But Naruto was far above such barbaric notions of wanting revenge. In Naruto's complex mind, Obito only did what he thought was right. In his mind, a man who do not have any ideals of his own is not worth living. He was also very curious about their plan, the Tsuki no Mi. He would have helped them, but eventually their plan involved taking the bijou out of his little sister, and that was not acceptable. Naruto was sure Nariko would still live even if the bijou was drawn from her because of her Uzumaki heritage. Even if she was barely alive, he could just use his yang release, which was capable of healing anything. But Naruto was not going to gamble with his precious little sister. She was the only family that was left to him. So, Naruto was just going to be neutral towards Obito's plans and see where fate leads him. He was currently in Kiri to confront Yugura aka Obito to discuss something important. If he had to stop the bloodline wars in doing so, then so be it. Who was he to complain? He also had a bloodline. Naruto stopped when he came upon a small clearing in the forest and saw an ensuing battle. He saw a large group of kirinines consisting of hunternines, jounins and chunins fighting against a smaller group of 5, led by an auburn-haired woman. He then took a close look at the woman. She was a slender woman. She looked like she was in her late 20s. She had green eyes and ankle-length auburn hair styled into a herringbone pattern at the back. A top knot was tied up at the top with blue band and 4 bangs in front. 2 of the bangs were short, with one covering her left eye and 2 others crossed between her chest just under her chin. She was wearing a long-sleeved dark blue dress that fell just below her knees. It seemed to close at the front with a zip and is kept open on the front right side from the waist down. The dress only covered the upper part of her arms and the underside of her breasts. Underneath she wore mesh armor that covered more of her upper body than her dress. Around her waist was a white belt that had pouches hanging from the back. She was also wearing blue high-heeled sandals and shin guards reaching up to her knees. On her fingers and toes there was dark blue polish and dark blue lipstick on her lips. He then saw her spitting out streams of lava at the Kirinines, melting some of them. So they are the Bloodline rebels, he analyzed. He then saw the Bloodline rebels being overwhelmed by the greater numbers of the Kirinines. Maybe I could lend them a hand, he thought, and unsheathed the Urashi from his back. Naruto held the sentient sword in his right hand and felt a warm feeling coming from it. They had become quick friends. Naruto had trained with her, perfecting their combo attacks during the last year. He unmasked his chakra and rushed to the battlefield. Naruto quickly reached the first Kirinine he could find, bringing his sword down, cutting him in half. He then spun around, cutting the rest of the Kirinines closest to him. The rest of the fighting had stopped on his arrival, seeing him kill the Kirinines with ease. Who is this new guy? He killed them like it was nothing for him, Mei thought. Whoever he is, he seems to be on our side for now. All their thoughts were along the same lines. You bastard, how dare you attack Mizuki-sama's forces? Die, you scum, a Hunter-nin said, snarling at him and charging with his tanto drawn. Naruto with practiced ease brought his sword up to block the tanto. He then channeled right-end chakra through the Urashi, paralyzing the Hunter-nin. I don't care even if you are Kami-sama's forces, it's nothing personal, but you were in my way, Naruto said emotionlessly and stabbed the Urashi through the Hunter-nin's stomach, killing him. That bastard, he killed our captain, get him boys, he heard a Jounin shout, and saw the group charging at him in rage. How foolish, charging at me without even a battle plan. Has the quality of shinobis fallen since I left, he thought, annoyed. He pointed the Urashi at the group and started charging chakra into the sword and shouted, Eretun, storm release Hiryu, flying dragon. A dragon made up of wind, water and lightning came soaring out of the sword in the direction of the charging group, electrocuting them. Meanwhile, the Bloodline rebels were watching dumbfounded as a single man took out all the Kirinines with ease. Naruto then saw that the Jounin that had given the foolish command to attack him head-on was still alive, although barely. Naruto slowly walked up to the Jounin and saw him gain a horrified expression on his face and tried to crawl away from Naruto, only to hit his back against a tree. What are you? He asked in a scared voice. What am I? I still don't know the answer to that question and is trying to find them, but you only need to know me as your death, he replied in a calm voice and then cut off the Jounin's head with his sword. Naruto resheathed the Urashi. He then looked towards the rebels and began walking towards them and saw them all tense, probably afraid of him. Please do not be afraid, I mean you no harm, I am like you and just came to help, he said, bringing his hands up and saw them relax, albeit only slightly. We are sorry, but you must understand our concerns. We do not get strangers helping us often, let alone powerful strangers, but we offer you our gratitude for helping us. Mei bowed slightly along with the rest of the small group. It is quite understandable, Naruto replied in his usual emotionless tone. It's like talking to a robot, but a powerful robot, I might add, Mei thought, amused at his mannerisms. Thanks for understanding. Where are my manners? My name is Mei Terumi, the leader of the Bloodline rebels. It is nice to meet you, Mr. She trailed off, not knowing his name. My name is Ryu. It is a pleasure to meet you too, Mei-san, Naruto said respectfully, giving her his fake bounty hunter name. He was not about to reveal his identity to them. Okay, Ryu-san, Mei replied respectfully. She knew it was a fake name, meaning that the man did not trust them enough to give his real name. She could not blame him though, she would also have done the same if she was in his position. Ryu-san, it seems that you are not from Kiri. So can you tell us why you came here of all places? She asked him. She knew he must have come here looking for something or someone important. I have some questions that I do not have the answers to. I hope to find them here, he lied using a cryptic statement. Naruto definitely knew the reason to why he was in Kiri. But that does not mean that he have to tell them. What kind of fucking reason is that? They all thought simultaneously. Okay, Ryu-san, I hope you find your answers here, Mei told him exasperatedly. If only I could get him to join us, and we might have chance at winning against Jiraiya, she thought hopingly. She had seen the ease with which the man had took out the Kirinines. Ryu-san, as you can see, we rebels are fighting to overthrow Yagura and his tyranny, but we are a little short on manpower at the moment. Please, if you could help us, she asked hopingly. But Mei-sama, how could we trust him? In my days, trust engagements between men were done in closed halls. A man with moosed-up blue hair, an eye patch over his right eye and talismans for to hear hanging on his ears, asked Mei. Meanwhile, Mei was only hearing selected words from what Ao was saying to her. Trust engagement men closed halls. As in a wedding hall you do not have a man's trust enough for an engagement in a closed wedding hall. She summarized her thoughts, a shadow looming over her face. She brought her face close to Ao, a sickly sweet smile on her face, and said, Ao, shut up or I'll kill you. What did I do? Ao asked, a horrified expression on his face. Naruto was watching the amusing conversation with a raised eyebrow which was hidden by his hood. Mei then turned to Naruto with a smile and asked, Don't mind Ao, so will you join us? Hook, line and sinker, he thought. He was already expecting her question. He could easily find Yagura i.e. Obito if he joined with the bloodline rebels. He brought his hand up to his chin in a fake thinking pose. He had already made up his decision to join them before she had even asked. He turned to look at her and said in a blank voice, Since my plans will be hindered by Yagura's reign, I see no harm in joining you. Mei got an happy expression on her face and said sweetly, Wonderful, we thank you for your assistance. Now, if you could follow us, we will lead you to our base. All right, lead the way, Naruto replied and followed the group through the forest. After a few hours, they reached a small hut hidden by a large rock with a wooden door that was locked from the inside. He watched as Mei knocked on the door and heard a gruff voice from the inside, When do the leaves fall? When the mist is stained by the blood of the innocents, Mei replied, obviously a password among the rebels. Naruto watched as the wooden door creaked open and a guard peeping from the crack, eyeing him. Mei-sama, Ao-san, I hope your intel gathering trip went well, but who is this? He asked, looking at Naruto. Our trip went well except for the time when Yagura's army attacked us on the way, but Ryu-san over here saved us, Mei replied in a grateful voice. I see, the guard said. He then turned towards Naruto and said, Thank you for protecting our leader, you may enter. He then moved aside for them to enter. Naruto followed Mei inside the hut. After some walking, they reached a medium-sized settlement inside. It seemed that the space for the buildings were created by Doton Jutsus. Welcome to the headquarters of the rebel army, Mei told him. It is quite impressive, Naruto replied in monotone. Oh, thank you, Mei thanked him. He saw children and civilians wearing worn-out rags and could easily guess the poverty experienced by the people due to Yagura's reign. He then saw the shinobis and kunoichis looking at him with curious expressions. Don't mind their staring, we don't usually get guests here, Mei said, trying to put him at ease. Their concerns are quite understandable, he replied emotionlessly. Naruto then watched as Mei turned to Ao and say, Ao, escort Ryu-san to his room, I would be in my office discussing the details about our trip to the council. He then watched as she smiled at him once more and left. If you would please follow me to your room, Ryu-san, Ao told him and began walking, followed by Naruto. They then reached a small house and Ao turned to him, handing over a set of keys and said, You can use this room until you leave. Ryu-san, if your presence is needed, I will send someone to call you. He left when Naruto gave a small nod. Naruto entered the house and saw that it was adequate with a living room, a bedroom, bathroom and kitchen. He locked the door and lowered his hood. His face had become more lean and angled over the years. His front bangs over his face had also grown in length with the red hue growing with it. The rest of his hair had also increased in length and were disheveled at different angles. For those who want to see how Naruto looks, see the picture on the story profile and imagine that the front bangs of his face has a red hue about 1/4 of them. Naruto was sure that even if someone saw his face without his hood, they would not mistake him for his father because his face and hair had a different design than his father's. The fact that Naruto Namikaze was dead according to everyone's knowledge also would help in keeping his identity a secret. To everyone that would see him, he would only be a guy with the same blonde hair and blue eyes as the yondaime and his son. Just the way he wanted. He then freshened up in the bathroom and went to sleep in the bedroom. He was honestly a little tired because of the non-stop traveling for days. Naruto woke up groggily, rubbing his eyes to the sound of knocking on the door. He pulled up his hood and went to open the door. He watched as a boy of about 15 to 16 years of age with a headphone over his ears, pointed teeth like the 7 swordsmen of the mist, and a large sword attached to his back, standing at the door with a shy and nervous expression on his face. What is it? Naruto asked emotionlessly. Ryusen Mime-sama asked for your presence, he said, stuttering with an unsure voice. Naruto closed the door from the outside and replied, "All right, lead the way." He watched as the boy quickly took off and followed him slowly. They reached a tall building and went up the stairs to reach a door. Naruto followed the shy boy inside the room and saw Mei sitting in the middle of a large conference table with Ao standing behind her. He also saw many others sitting around the table. They stopped their discussion when they saw him enter the room. "Ryusen, I see that you have agreed to my request for you to join us. Please take a seat," she said with a jolly expression, pointing towards a seat next to her. Naruto was about to walk up to the seat but was cut off by an old man asking Mei-sama, "I think it is not wise to have him join our discussion. How could we trust him when he doesn't even show us his face? For all we know, he could be a spy working for Yagura." The old bag of bones need to retire, Mei thought, annoyed. "I trust Ryusen with my life because he had saved us from being killed by Yagura's lackeys. Does anyone else have any more ridiculous questions? Because I am itching to melt someone," she said threateningly. But the old man started but was cut off by Naruto. "I would like to say 3 things. Firstly, no, you can't trust me, and I do not care if you don't. Secondly, no, I am not a spy of Yagura. If I was one, all of you would be dead by now. Lastly, no, I don't care if I showed you my face because I have nothing to hide," Naruto said emotionlessly. He was sure they would not recognize him. "It's fine, Ryusen, you do not have to do it if you are not comfortable with it," Mei said. Although she wanted to see the face of the enigma of a man because he intrigued her, she was not going to force him into doing something he was not comfortable with. "No, it is okay, I feel no concern in showing how I look," Naruto replied and slowly pulled his hood down, hearing the gasps from everyone around him. On seeing Naruto's handsome face, Mei and all the other kunoichis in the room were blushing heavily. They had to force down their blush at least a little to even think coherently. "Kami-sama, is this what he looked like under the hood? He looks like an Adonis," Mei thought, blushing furiously. She then saw most of the kunoichis in the room, openly drooling, looking at Ryu. How pathetic, drooling at someone they don't even know the name of, but I seriously can't blame them. He is the most handsome man I have ever seen in my life, although he looks sort of familiar, like I had seen him from somewhere. She finished her thoughts and somewhat controlled her blush, but you could still see the small pink dusting on her cheeks. "Moving on, please take a seat, Ryusen, so that we can continue our discussion," she told him, not meeting his eyes of fear of blushing again. Naruto calmly walked up to the empty chair next to her and sat down. Seeing that he was seated, Mei focused her attention on the meeting. "So according to the intel we gathered, Yagura has deployed a force of more than a quarter of his total army next to our branch rebel camp over here," she said, pointing at a spot on a map of Kiri. "What should we do if he plans on attacking? They would just be like sitting ducks against those numbers," a rebel shinobi said, panicking. "We must defend that base. If we could catch them off guard, we could deal a major blow to Yagura's plans," Mei told them. "But it's suicide, they could be more of them," a man shouted. "Yeah, we should just let them fight on their own," another said, cowardly. "Cowards, how could you let our fellow comrades die because you do not have the spine to fight Yagura's forces? I do not need your opinions," she shouted at them, clearly annoyed at their cowardliness. She turned to Ryu and asked him with a serious expression on her face, "What do you think we should do, Ryu-san?" "I think that it probably might be a trap to catch us off guard," he said in a blank voice, and saw Mei get a sad look on her face. "But we can't let the ones at the camp be slaughtered because we were afraid to take risks," he finished, and saw Mei's face brighten up. "Who are you to tell us what to do? If you want to go save them, be my guest and go on your own," the old man from earlier said, snarling at him. "I am a man of many qualities, but cowardliness is not one of them. If you are not even willing to save your own comrades, how could you wish to save the village from Yagura? I have no tolerance for cowards. If you are not going to help, please just shut up," Naruto said emotionlessly, but there was a certain edge in his voice. Mei looked at Ryu in a new light as she watched the old man, and the others quickly fell into places and kept their mouths shut. The man truly intrigued her with his determination and noble qualities. "Well said, Ryu-san, but as you said, it might be a trap, so can you tell us what we can do?" Mei asked him. "We should beat Yagura at his own game. He would be waiting for us to show up, and he would probably bring a lot more than a quarter of his army with him. We could fool him into thinking that we would not show up and wait till he begin his attack, then we can catch them off guard by attacking from all sides, cornering them," he told her in monotone. He watched as she thought about his plan for several moments, and said with a smile, "That is brilliant. Yagura won't know what hit him, but how many of our forces should we take to face them?" "Less than half of your total forces, including you and your most trusted personal side will join you too," he replied in monotone. "But that is too small to be facing Yagura. Even the quarter of his total army is quite large," she said. "No, that's fine, leave the numbers to me," Naruto replied with a determined voice that gave no room for arguments. Okay, I trust you. We begin our attack tomorrow morning. Let's rest for today, she replied and ended the meeting. Naruto watched as everyone left the room and was about to leave too, but was stopped by his arm being held back. He looked back to see Mei standing there holding his hand with a large smile on her face. Naruto raised an eyebrow at the gesture. You know, I did not think someone as powerful as you would be so young, she said, moving closer to him. So young and so handsome, she finished, her body now only inches away from touching his. I see no connection in me being young and handsome to my powers. Is there a relation? He asked emotionlessly. He was not understanding what she intended. So many years in the demon world has left him somewhat detached from the real world. Mei's smile got bigger when she heard his answer. You know, you sound so cute when you say things like that. You kind of remind me of someone in your appearance. I would like to get to know you better. Ryu-san, it would make my day if you would join me for a drink at my home, she asked, a hopeful expression on her face. Naruto was not getting the game she was playing. At first she said that he was powerful and that his power was somehow related to his youth and facial features. Then she told him that he was cute and that he reminded her of someone, Kami-sama knows who. And now she had invited him to her home to get to know him better. He was in a loop. After some thinking, he decided the hell with the consequences. Alright, I see no problems getting something to drink, he told her. He seriously wanted to know her endgame. Mei was ecstatic when she heard that he would come to her home. Honestly, it would not be incorrect if she said that she was attracted to him. Who wouldn't be? The man was extremely handsome. But there was a certain strange vibe coming from him that draws her to him. She brought her hands together and said, smiling brightly, excellent, now off we go. She then began dragging him towards her home before he changed his mind. They then reached an average-size house and saw Mei fiddling with keys, opening the door after some time. She turned towards Ryu and beckoned for him to enter. Naruto followed her silently. Naruto walked inside to see a large room with many pictures hanging on the ceiling and a couch in the center with a coffee table in front of it. Sit down, Ryu-san, I will come soon, she said, pointing towards the couch, and went inside the kitchen. Naruto sat down on the couch and saw a picture book on the table. He then saw Mei coming with a cup of tea in her hand. She handed over the tea to him and sat down on the couch. He then heard her ask, the attack you used on the Kirinins, I have not seen them before, can you tell me what bloodline you have? He took a small sip of tea and said, it's called Eric and it's a special bloodline that joined my natural affinities for wind, lightning and water. It also has other uses, but I would like to keep them a secret for now. What about your bloodline? Wow, that's certainly interesting. My bloodlines are Yotan, lava release, and Futon, boil release, she replied proudly. Naruto raised an eyebrow, for a person to have two bloodlines was indeed rare. Two bloodlines, that's quite impressive. Mei-san, now I can see why the others value you so highly, he complimented her. Mei blushed again. What is it with him that makes me blush like a damned schoolgirl, she thought bitterly. Ah, thank you, Ryu-san, she thanked him, blushing, not looking into his eyes again. Why do you do that? He asked her. Why do I do what? Mei replied, confused. At one time you seem to be confident, then the other you act all depressed and shy, like you are very self-aware. Why do you do that? He asked her. It's nothing, she replied quickly. How the hell does he know about these things? I shouldn't have invited him, she thought, depressed. Oh, I know now, he replied, already finding the answer. He was always very good at analyzing people. You know what? She said, annoyed, already regretting inviting him. She just wanted to know him better. She didn't sign up for a self-awareness class. I now know the reason for your insecurities. You are afraid of rejection, so you tried to shut out people from your heart. You are afraid of the hurt you would receive if they leave you, so you tried to prevent anyone from entering your heart, so that you could avoid the pain of their departure. My final conclusion being childhood trauma, he summarized his thoughts, emotionlessly. There was a long pause where he saw her face shadowed by her hair. She then knocked out the teacup out of his hand, shattering it to pieces. Get out, she said in a low voice. Seeing his dumbfounded expression, she shouted, Get out now. I am sorry, but I did not wish to upset you, he said apologetically, clearly knowing that she was upset. She was about to shout at him again but was cut off by him saying, It's okay, I understand your feeling, the feeling of being useless as you lose all your loved ones to fate. I too have experienced the loss of losing my precious people and can relate with yours. I am leaving now again. I am sincerely sorry for ruining your day. He then began to stand up, only for a hand latching onto his, making him sit again. He then heard quiet sobbing and saw Mei looking at him with teary eyes. I am sorry, I kind of lost control of my emotions because what you told were true, she apologized, sniffling. Want to talk about it? He asked sympathetically. It would seem she has her own demons from the past, like him. He sort of took it as his duty to help her, even though there was no one there for him when he needed help. She gave a small nod and began. I was born to a family of shinobis with no bloodlines. I was seen as a child prodigy because of my bloodlines and was trained from childhood to reach my high potential. I had thought that my mother and father had loved me for me and not my bloodlines and had thought the world of them. Then Yagura became the Mizukage and ordered the extermination of all bloodline users. I was about 13 when that happened. 7 years ago, and was scared, but I thought that my parents would protect me. But then the day came when several Kirinins came to my house. My heart broke when my parents told me that I was a monster and that they were not going to die for harboring a monster. Then I saw the Kirinins killing my parents, saying that they deserved death for giving birth to a monster like me. In my blind rage I killed them all and escaped to a rebel camp. That was the day that I had realized that my parents did not love me, and that they had only loved the fame they would receive because of my bloodlines. From then onwards I did not trust anyone with my heart, and was scared to enter any relationships because I think that they only want me for my position, and will leave me when it's gone. She finished her story, and was now openly crying into his shoulders. Naruto brought the sobbing woman on his shoulders into a gentle hug. He then saw her relax into the hug and brought her face up, holding her chin. "May, do you want to know what you have to do to heal that pain in your heart?" he asked in a soothed voice, his eyes looking into hers softly. May gave him a small nod, blushing because of their intimate position. "You have to fill your heart with more precious people, people that you can trust, and when you find that special someone, don't let go of them, protect them with your life," he said, giving her a small, but true smile. Meanwhile, May was having the feelings of butterflies flying in her stomach when she heard his speech and that smile. It was so beautiful. "What is happening to me? These weird feelings. I feel so calm when being with him. What is he to me?" she thought, looking at him in daze. She was very disappointed when he released the hug. It was quite comfy. "Are you feeling all right now?" he asked her, concerned. May smiled brightly, touched by the concern in his voice. "I was wrong, he is far from being a robot," she thought with a smile. "You know, Ryukun, you should smile more, it suits you," she said, subconsciously adding the kun suffix to his name. Naruto rose an eyebrow when he heard the endearing suffix after his name. He only had let specific people say his name with that suffix. He let her off the hoof because of the emotional trauma she had suffered a few moments ago. Meanwhile, May was in an inward argument. It had only caught up with her now on what she had called Ryu with. "Ryukun, where did that come from? Do I have feelings for him? Who cares even if I have? I like him very much and find him very attractive, and he seems to be genuinely concerned about me. I don't want to be alone anymore." "Looks like you were right, Ryukun. I have now found my precious person, and I won't let him go," she thought, determined. She smiled sweetly at him and asked, "I am sorry for knocking the teacup out of your hands. Ryukun, would you like another?" "It's okay, don't bother," he replied, now back in his emotionless tone. "So, if you don't mind me asking, where are you from?" she asked, hoping to know where he is from. "Kanohigaku no Sato," Naruto replied. He did not see any damage in letting her know where he was from. "Konoha, you are a long way from home?" she asked, a little shocked to know that he was a leaf shinobi. Naruto did not reply. He took the picture book from the table in his hands and inquired, "May I take a look?" "By all means, go ahead," she told him with a smile. Naruto quickly swept through the pictures, noticing pictures of her with some people, probably colleagues. He came to the middle of the page and a picture that was not attached fell to the floor. He took the picture and saw, much to his shock, that it was a picture of him taken on the day of his inductance into the ANBU, the one where he was holding a Rasengan and a Raishin kunai in his hands. It was the picture of his that was in the bingo books. On how that picture and the fact that he was in the ANBU was known by the other nations. It was because a certain warhawk had leaked it to Konoha's enemies, and when they had asked Danzo, he told that, and he quote, "We should show the strength of Konoha to her enemies." Naruto was sure that the old fool would be the end of Konoha if he became Hokage. He looked towards May and saw she was blushing, and raised an eyebrow. "How the hell did that picture come in that book? I was sure I had kept it safe in my personal diary." "Oh no," he saw it, she panicked, and quickly snatched it away from his hands. "Who is that?" Naruto lied. He knew who he was better than anyone, but he had to still act as Ryu because Naruto was dead in everyone's eyes. "You don't know about Namikaze?" "Naruto, the son of the Yellow Flash, the boy who is hailed as the greatest prodigy that was born, the one who made record as the youngest ANBU at just 7 years old, feared by his enemies and called the Rayon no Konoha, Lion of Konoha. You don't know him? Were you living under a rock all these years?" May asked, exasperated. Who in the world has not heard of Naruto Namikaze? Meanwhile, Naruto was having a panic attack. "Kami-sama, is she a fangirl? I thought that I would never have to deal with them again. Will she lock me up in a room and tell me that I belong to her? Like that one time, the hell with the war, I'm escaping from her," he thought, panicking, inching away from her, readying to make a dash for it. Even the calm and reserved Naruto Namikaze was afraid of the bane known as fangirls. May, not seeing Naruto's distress, continued speaking, "You know I see him as my idol." On hearing that, Naruto relaxed. "Thank Kami-sama, she is not a fangirl, she just looks up to me," he thought, letting out an inward sigh. "Is he that great?" "He doesn't look like much," Naruto asked, still keeping his fake facade. "He is great. You know, when I was a little girl, I was forced to live up to my reputation as a prodigy. I had no one to guide me. Then came the story of the boy who was hailed as the greatest prodigy in generations. I began to hear all his achievements, and realized that anything could be achieved through hard work and dedication. Though he was from another village and was about 3 years younger than me, I still looked up to him, and saw him as my idol. Then came the day that I heard he died." Stopping the Kyuubi, "I was really sad. Then Yagura became Mizukage, and you know the rest," May told him, reminiscing about the past. Naruto was dumbfounded. He had not known that she saw him in such a light. "Maybe I should tell her who I am. It would be nice to have someone to talk freely to after all these years living a lie," he thought, wondering if he should tell her the truth. "May-san," he started, about to tell her the truth, but was cut off by May's rambling about her idol. "You know, I used to have a huge crush on him back then, despite the fact that he was a few years younger than me. Who could blame me? Almost every girl my age had a crush on him." May continued her rambling with a small blush, not knowing that she just told her crush that she had a crush on him. Hearing that, Naruto contemplated his decision. "Maybe I shouldn't, but she said she had a crush on me. She didn't say that she still has one. The hell with it. It is not like she will rape me, will she? Nah, I'm just overthinking. The world will someday know about me being alive. I see no problem in telling her." He made up his mind to tell her despite the consequences. "Ma-san," he called again, trying to get her attention. May was broken out of her daydreaming by him calling her name. "Yes, Ryukuen, what is it?" she asked him. "If I tell you a secret of mine, would you promise not to tell anyone else about it?" he asked with a serious face. May was ecstatic to know that he trusted her enough to tell her his secret. "Okay, I promise on my life that I would not tell anyone else," she replied with an equally serious face. Naruto stood up and took out his Anbu Kitsune mask that was kept in his pocket and clipped it onto his pants. He then took out a Raishin kunai in his left hand and charged a Rasengan in his right, looking at her with the same serious expression and pose as in the picture. May was in shock. How does Ryu have a Anbu mask and a Raishin kunai, and where did he learn the Rasengan from? She thought in confusion. Then it all clicked inside her mind, and she became shell-shocked. "How?" she gasped out, not finding her voice. "How what?" Naruto asked in a calm voice, already expecting her reaction. "How are you still alive? They said that you died fighting the Kyuubi, but your body was not found," she asked, still in shock. "Let's just say I did not die. You could still see me, can you?" he asked, amused. She gave a small nod and then asked, "Then where were you all these years? Why hide?" "Who said I was hiding? You must have known that the Yondaime sealed the Kyuubi because it cannot be killed," he asked her, in a blank voice. He saw her nod again. "Let's just say that I was the sacrifice that the Shinigami asked for sealing the Kyuubi into the child," he lied, telling the story the Shinigami and him had created if one were to ask where he was all these years. "What do you mean by that?" she asked him, not knowing what he meant. "You should know that the Shikifuin used by my father to seal away the Kyuubi is paid by the soul of the caster," he asked. She nodded again. "But the Shinigami not only took my father's soul as payment, but also took my soul and body, sealing it away," he lied, continuing the fake story they had come up with. He then saw May getting a sad and sympathetic look on her face. "Then how did you escape?" she asked him in a soft voice. "Let's just say that I escaped somehow and leave it at that," Naruto replied, ending the conversation. May was now looking at Naruto with sympathy. Poor dear, how cruel can his fate be, she thought with a clenching heart. Then all the previous statements she had told about him, prior to knowing who he was, came to her mind. "Oh dear Kami-sama, didn't I tell him that I look up to him as an idol and that I have a huge crush on him? Please, just kill me now. How embarrassing," she thought with a furious blush, wanting to just crawl into a hole in the ground and stay there hiding. "I'm sorry for your loss, Ryu, I mean Naruto-san," she said, refusing to look into his face of fear of him seeing her blush. "You are doing it again. May, why do you refuse to acknowledge your own self? If you do not acknowledge yourself, how do you expect others to acknowledge you?" he asked in monotone. "I," she said, not looking at him again. He went up to her and once again brought her chin up to make her look at him. "You know, such a beautiful and powerful woman such as yourself should not be so indecisive. As I said earlier, I know how you feel and have experienced pain similar to you. If you need someone to talk to, I'll be there," he said, giving her a small smile. May nodded, blushing on being called beautiful by him. He removed his hand, still holding a Raishin kunai in his other. Rest for tomorrow's battle. I am leaving, and please, do not reveal my identity to anyone else, he asked her emotionlessly. Seeing her give a small nod, he hurried away to the seal mark he had left in his temporary room. Mei gathered coherent thinking when Naruto left. He was my idol all along. We have the Naruto Namikaze fighting for us. We will surely win. I wonder if he would use his famous Raishin no Jutsu in battle, she thought giddily. She then thought about everything he had said and the advices he had given her. He really is something else. No wonder I had a sense of familiarity when I saw him without his hood. He is the only man that have made me have these feelings. Wait and see, Naruto-kun, I will get to know you better, and when I do, I'm not going to let you go like all the others that had come in my life. Just as you told me, she thought determinedly, and went to bed with a happy expression on her face. The next day, Naruto got up early as usual and made his preparation for the battle. He left his room and went outside to see Mei, Ao, and the shy boy standing before a large group of rebels who were doing their last-moment preparation. Mei then saw him coming towards them and said with a small blush and smile, "Na Ryukun," she corrected herself, ignoring the shocked looks from the others when she added the kun suffix to his name. "Mason," he gave a small nod. "I was just giving the last-minute instructions. We were waiting for you. Myself, Ao, and Chojuro over here will lead the attack," she said. "This wimpy boy, he doesn't look like much. No, I can't judge him yet. Maybe he is good in battle and just lacks confidence," Naruto thought, looking at Chojuro. "Ao, Chojuro, what about the news from the branch base? Have they seen Yagura's army near their base?" Mei asked in her leader voice. "And no, Mei-sama," Chojuro replied, stuttering. "Youth these days, what he means, Mei-sama, is that there have been no sightings on Yagura's men near the base," responded Ao. However, what Mei heard was entirely different. "No sightings on men," repeated Mei in her mind. "Shall we arrange our men to the formations, going into battle?" asked Ao. But Mei heard differently again. "Arrange with men as in to be married," thought Mei. Ao took her silence as a yes and continued talking. "Well, to be honest, I would rather prefer arranging them sooner rather than later. I just don't trust the youth these days anyways," Ao continued jabbering on about youth, and Chojuro was being his usual shy self. "Get married sooner than later, you don't have any use," she summarized her thoughts, a shadow looming over her face. Mei got a dark look in her eye and walked up to Ao and whispered in his ear while smiling sweetly, "Ao, shut up or I'll kill you." Ao's face went ghost white and his mind went blank. He decided to shut up. Naruto coughed to get them back on track. "Oh, sorry." Ao was just being his usual self. "Where were we again?" she asked him with a sweet smile. "We were about to head to the camp," Naruto replied blankly. "Okay, let's move out," Mei cheered with her hands raised. They then began stealthily heading to the camp. They then reached a clearing which was a little away from the camp. "Ao, scan the area to see if Yagura's army has arrived," Mei told Ao. They really did not need to do that. Naruto could already sense the Kirinins because of his sensor abilities. Before he could tell them, he watched as Ao held up a hand seal and several veins bulged out from his covered eye. He instantly realized that the man has got a transplanted Byakugan. "They are here, Mei-sama, and it is what we had feared. There is a lot more than a quarter of Yagura's armies there," Ao told Mei. He watched as she turned to everyone and shout, "Everyone, we move according as planned, stealthily surround them without alerting them and strike when they are most vulnerable. Now go." With that, everyone went to their directed positions, leaving only a small group behind. "Ao, Chojuro, and the rest with me," she told them, and received several nods in return. "What are you going to do, Ryukun?" she asked him. "Don't worry about me, I will give them support when needed," Naruto replied. "Will you be using your Raishin?" she whispered in his ear, so that only he could hear. She was really hoping to see the famous Raishin in battle. "No, if I use it everyone will figure out who I am, but I will be using something just as deadly as the Raishin," he whispered back to her. Mei was a little disappointed that she could not get to see the Raishin, but was eager to see what he meant by something as deadly as it. She watched as sparks began to appear on his body at random intervals and saw his azure eyes glowing. This was a new technique Naruto had learned. It was learned so that he could have a substitute for the Raishin. The technique uses his air and bloodline to smoothen the air under his feet, reducing the friction to almost null and accelerating his speed to superhuman levels, so that it would seem he was teleporting. It was sort of like the Yandame Reikage technique, only his technique did not cover his entire body and was only concentrated at his feet. Also, his technique was a lot faster than the Reikage's. Naruto watched with glowing eyes and sparks coming out of him, as Yagura's forces began their assault. They were about twice as large as the rebels' numbers. He saw the signal for starting their counterattack being given and followed Mei to the battlefield. Mei rushed to the battle, going through hand seals for her attack and spat out streams of lava to the oncoming enemies, seeing them melt. She then watched Ao fighting against a group of Chunins and Chojuro swiping away at random people with his sword. She looked to see Naruto disappearing in a blue flash and appearing at the other end, killing the nearby hunter Nin with a sword slashed to his neck. She then watched him appear and disappear at several places in blue flashes, all of the surrounding ninjas falling dead when he disappears. What frightening speed and power, she thought awed at him. He was not lying when he told it was as deadly as the Raishin. Meanwhile, Naruto was having a field day with the Kirinins. Holding the Urashi, which was covered in blood from the recent group he had killed, he called out the name of his technique again, Flash Step. He then reached the opposite end of the field in only a few seconds and jumped from the ground. He channeled large amounts of chakra into the Urashi, bringing it focused on a specific point in its tip. He then came down with the momentum, bringing his sword down to the ground in front of the large group of enemies. Upon impact, the ground was pulverized around him, burying all of the surrounding Kirinins in it, and forming a large crater. He looked to see that almost more than half of Yagura's army was dead. He then went to support Mei, who was surrounded by Kirinins on all sides. "Need a hand?" he asked her. "I might need both of your hands," she said in a husky voice, smiling at him teasingly although she was surrounded by enemies. "Okay, if you say so," he said in an unsure voice, not getting what she really meant. He brought his hands together, forming a few hand seals, and shouted, "In release, shadow-style Makaz, evil wind," and spread his arms out, a dark-colored wind blowing out from them. He controlled the wind to wipe out all the surrounding Kirinins, cutting and burning them with the wind blades made up of his In chakra. "You could use In release too?" Mei asked, awed as she saw his attack. "Apparently I can," he replied, and Flash stepped away from her to the next group. He watched as all the remaining of Yagura's army were cornered together in one spot by the surrounding rebels. "Stand down, you cannot win, surrender and avoid unnecessary bloodshed," Naruto told them, giving them a chance to avoid death. "We would rather die than surrender to you monsters," a Kirinin shouted angrily, the rest of them foolishly agreeing with him. "Very well, if you prefer death, then so be it. Can't say I did not warn you," Naruto replied emotionlessly. "If they want him to end their pitiful lives, then end them he will." He channeled chakra through the Yorashi and pointed it towards them and shouted, "Eret-un, Yamarashi, Mountain Storm." Suddenly many storms began to pick up with lightning accompanying them and flew at the rest of them, killing them all. There were widespread celebration on their victory. But Naruto did not take part in it, and went to clean his sword, far away from them. "Fools, all of them, instead of being thankful that only a few of them died, they are celebrating like a bunch of brain-dead monkeys," he thought, disappointed at their behavior. He saw Mei walking up to him, seeing him standing there alone, and asked, "Why aren't you celebrating, Naruto-kun? We won the battle, we took out almost half of Yagura's army. The war is far from over, and winning a war is not something to celebrate. Do you think the families of the dead will be celebrating now? Countless unnecessary bloodshed, and for what? To gain power, strength, or money? Do not be happy that you have killed someone. Peace is not achieved through violence," he replied in monotone, and left her to think about what he said. All of the surviving rebels from the battle reached the rebel headquarters at night. They had only lost a few comrades because of Naruto ending the battle quickly. There was widespread celebration and partying among them. The rebels that had come back had told the rest about the battle, including how Naruto had defeated the Kirinins almost single-handedly. Now everyone was looking at him in awe and admiration, like he was some sort of war hero. Although he was one, considering the fact that he had participated in the Third Shinobi World War. But Naruto did not thought of his participation in that war as an achievement, he rather thought of it as a nightmare. It was the war that had changed him. He avoided everyone and went to his room to be in peace, ignoring the odd and lustful looks he was receiving from several kunoichis. He quickly went inside his room and locked it from the inside. He shuddered slightly, those kind of looks still somewhat scared him. He decided not to think about the past and went to get some sleep. He turned to walk into his bedroom and switched on the lights, only for a pair of arms to wrap around his waist. Damn it, I was distracted by my thinking and not sensing my surroundings and was caught unaware, he thought, annoyed with himself for being so clumsy. "Who are you?" he asked, still not seeing the person behind him. The pair of arms tightened around his waist and he felt a pair of soft lumps pressed on his back and was a little shocked to hear the sound of the person whom he now recognized. "Who would it be? It's me, silly, Mei. It seems she masked her chakra so that I would not sense it was her," he thought, and asked her a little annoyed, "What are you doing here, Mei-san?" "You know what from now on, call me Mei-chan," Naruto-kun, say it Mei-chan, she said in a sweet voice, still not letting him go. Quit playing games, Mei, I do not have the time and patience for your foolish games, he said in a serious voice, dropping the formal san suffix, now clearly annoyed with her. Hearing his words, she tightened her hold on him even more, pressing more of her to his back. If you do not have time for me, you should find the time. Naruto-kun, weren't you the one who had said earlier to me that I can come to talk to you about my problems at any time and that you would be there for me? Don't tell me you forgot, she told him, trying to guilt-trip him using his own words. What do you want, Mei, he asked, sighing, falling for her guilt trip. I want you, would you give me, and didn't I tell you to call me Mei-chan, she told him, in a sickly sweet voice. He sighed again, this time more pronounced. It would seem she still won't give him a straight answer. But he was now done playing her games. He broke out of her arms and quickly pinned her to the wall, a small frown marring his face. My, aren't you the smooth one, Naruto-kun, so eager to grant my request, she asked him in a sultry voice. It was now that he noticed that she was a little drunk, from her breath. I asked, what do you want to talk about, Mei, he asked emotionlessly, the frown still marring his face. Mei gave him a small smile. She brought her face down and said, you know, when you said those things earlier after the battle, it kind of hurt me inside. It hurt because it was you who had said it. What I said were true. Killing is not something to take joy from. Violence will only lead to more violence. Peace will not be in a world filled with violence, he said sincerely, the frown leaving his face. You really are something special. The talk that we had in my room, it really helped me all this time. I was afraid of relationships because I was afraid they would hurt me in the end, but not anymore, she said, and wrapped her arms around his neck, bringing his head down for a fierce kiss. The kiss was fierce as well as somewhat sloppy, considering it was both of their firsts. Mei, wanting more, began gently biting his lips, and when his mouth parted a little, she deepened the kiss by entering her tongue into his mouth. Naruto did not try to break the kiss because his brain had kind of switched off from the sudden violation of his mouth. She explored his mouth thoroughly, pinning his tongue, and was delighted to feel him fight back with his. He tastes like chocolate, like Pocky, she thought, liking the taste of his mouth. Naruto's mouth indeed tasted like Pocky because it was his favorite food. Where do you think Izumi's obsession for Pocky began? It began from watching Naruto eat them. After a few minutes of tongue swapping, Naruto came to his senses from his dazed state and quickly pulled away from the kiss. You, he said, growling under his breath. Mei was a little turned on by the growl. She brought a finger to her mouth and asked sensually, "Whom you don't like?" Naruto gained a small tint of pink on his cheeks when he saw her sensual act and question. He quickly thought of the oncoming blush. Namake's Naruto do not blush, and he won't begin now, and said in a stern voice, "Quit playing games, Mei, and tell me, what do you want?" She quickly turned their positions and pushed him onto the bed. She crawled on top of him and pinned his arms to the sides. She leaned her head closer to his face, so that they were only inches away, and told him, "I did say that I want you, Naruto-kun, didn't you hear me? You know I was not lying when I said that I had a huge crush on you. I took all your words about finding a precious person to heart." She then kissed him again. This time it was a gentle and passionate one. She then let go and brought her face closer to his ears and said huskily, "Now that I have found mine." She trailed off and quickly bound his arms to the bed's railing with chakra cuffs, making sure that he can't move. She then growled huskily, "I'm not letting you go," she finished, and kissed him again, pushing her tongue in. Rebel Camp, Naruto's room. A blonde man and auburn-haired woman was currently engaged in a fierce lip lock. The blonde man tried to break free from the cuff on his hands by tugging at them. The auburn-haired woman saw this and broke off from his lips. She wagged her index finger in front of his face and told him in a childish voice, "Try to break free all you want, Naruto-kun, but these are high-quality chakra cuffs. Not even nins that have Kage-level chakra can break free from them. You now have no way to escape, and I plan to use this situation to get to know you." She paused and traced her finger over his lips and trailed it over his chest, ending at his pants, and began rubbing his member through the cloth. She then said huskily, blowing her hot breath against his face, "Thoroughly." Naruto bit back a small groan when she grazed her hand against his pants. He controlled himself and tried to stop her by telling, "Mei, you are not being your usual self. You are drunk, and the alcohol is affecting your rational thinking. You do not want to do this. Stop this at once before things get out of hand." She gave him a fake annoyed look and said determinedly, "This small amount of alcohol is not enough to get me drunk, and who said I do not want this? I am doing this on my own free will and not under the effect of alcohol and the consequences." She then trailed her tongue inside his ear and said huskily, "What are you going to do if I don't stop? Naruto-kun, are you going to punish me for being a bad girl? Are you going to?" She then whispered the last words, "Spank me." Naruto now had enough. He could perfectly control his emotions. But raw primal instincts were very hard to control. He knew he had to stop this before he lost himself to his innermost primal desires. He began sending his chakra into the cuffs and began overloading it. Mei was right about one thing, those cuffs could hold chakra of even Kage level Nin. But where she went wrong was the fact that Naruto had chakra that far surpassed even Kage level Nin. Breaking out of these cuffs was child's play to him. Enough, he roared and broke out of the cuffs, startling Mei. He quickly reversed their positions and was now pinning Mei to the bed. Oh, I did not know you were the kind who liked to take control. Even better now. If you could please, I'm waiting for you to ravish me, she said playfully. Mei, I told you several times I have no time to play games with you. You do not know me. You do not know me at all. I am not a man that is controlled by his primal desires. I do not want casual, meaningless sex, he angrily told her. Hearing his words, Mei's face was shadowed by her hair. She then told him in a low and serious voice, who said that it is meaningless? It has meaning to me. Weren't you the one who told me that if I find someone precious to me, to hold him and never let him go? What? Do you not live to your own words? Naruto let out a silent gasp. Her words meant only one thing. You do you? He could not finish that question. She moved her face to the side, not looking at him. Not hearing a reply, Naruto asked sternly but calmly, answer me. Mei now snapped. She gave him a fierce look and shouted her words. What do you want to hear from me? Do you want me to shouted out to the world that my heart now belonged to someone that I. She then told the next words with tears falling out of her eyes, that I love you. She had thought long and hard about her feelings for Naruto. At first it had only been an attraction, but the man had somehow broken through the defenses in her heart, earning him a permanent place in it. Naruto now confirmed his suspicions after hearing directly from her. Why do I always do this? Why do I unknowingly hurt the heart of people close to me? I say that I want to bring peace to this world, but in the end, all I ever had done was hurt others, he thought, disgusted with himself. He knew he could accept her feelings towards him. But how could he? He had years ago shrugged off Izumi's feelings for him because he had thought they will only hinder the growth of them both. If he had done that then, how could he do this now? He decided to do the right thing and make her understand that in the end, he was not worthy of her affections. He brought his face down so that she could not see his face and said in a soft voice, I did not want things to get this far. This is the reason why I do not get close to people. Just forget about me for all it's worth. I am sorry. Mei now was furious. How dare he, she thought, gritting her teeth. She removed his arms of her and held his collar tightly and asked, snarling, Would you think that you can play with a woman's heart, and after that say that you are sorry and leave, or what? Am I not good enough for you? She tightened her hold on his collar. Mei, you do not want this. I will only increase your suffering. I am not relationship material. The goal that I have, don't allow me to enter any relationships. I will only break your heart in the end. And you are wrong. It is not that you are not good enough for me. It is that I am not good enough for you, he replied sincerely. After some time, the grip on his collars loosened. Mei, with now dried tears, said in a soft voice, It's okay, I understand you have your own goals that makes you travel around, but I do not care. Even if you leave me in the end, I will wait for you because my heart says that someday you will come back. But now please, she then whispered her last words shyly, I want to know what it feels like to be a real woman. Naruto could not find it in his heart to deny her one request. All I ever done was bring suffering to those that had cared for me, but for once, I should do what's right, he thought calmly. Do you really want this? He asked, wanting to make sure. Next day, Naruto woke feeling a weight on top of him. He saw Mei asleep on top of him, with him still inside her. Then all that happened on the previous day came to his mind. He couldn't say that he regretted it, he had agreed to it, having made the decision in his mind. But he knew that in the end, he was going to leave and hence, in turn, break her heart. He would be wrong if he said that he did not care for her. He did care for her. She was a soul that had suffered the same cruelties of fate as him. She was the only one he had confided with after so many years. But he knew that he could not stay with her till the end, his end goal will not allow them to be. He was willing to face her wrath in the end. He removed himself from inside her, hearing her soft moan, and was glad that she did not woke up. He then sunshined himself with a nearby pillow. He collected his clothes and took a quick shower in the bathroom. He then left the house before she woke. He did not want to make things more awkward. Mei groggily woke up to see that she was alone in the bed. She was a little disappointed at not having Naruto with her. But she could understand why he did not stay in bed. He probably did not want to make things uncomfortable. She got up from bed to do her morning rituals. Rebel Camp, Council Room. Mei was having a heated discussion with the members of the rebel council. They were arguing if they should do an all-out attack on Yagura. There were many supporting her case and many against it. Since the argument is at a deadlock, we should let Ryu-san give the final vote, an elder said. Ever since the battle, everyone had seen Ryu in high regards. Mei looked at Naruto, who was being his usual silent and reserved self. They had not spoken a single word since last night. He had been avoiding her, and she was very busy with the battle, planning to seek him out. Mei could understand his reasons for avoiding her. But even if she could understand them, doesn't mean it hurt her any less. What do you think about the plan, Ryukun? She asked, speaking to him for the first time on the day. I agree. We should attack him today itself because he is now vulnerable due to having lost almost half of his army, he replied emotionlessly. He knew if he wanted to confront Obito, he must attack him at his own base. He also wanted to end the war quickly so that he could leave before things get more tense with Mei. Everyone agreed with Ryu's words. Having gotten the decisive vote, Mei said, "All right, prepare for the final battle, we attack at night." Kiri village gates. All the combined rebel army were now standing on the bridge near the village gates, covered from view by the thick mist. Today is the day that we end the tyranny of Yagura. Today we end all these years of our sufferings. Today we take back Kiri. Mei shouted to the rebel army, all of them charging towards the gates when the command was given. Naruto flash-stepped and reached the gates before them. He went through several hand seals and yelled, "Eretun, Denki Sakasu, Electric Circus." Several white beams of electricity generated from his hands and destroyed the gates, making way for the rebel army. He saw nins from both sides engaging against each other. But his target was not them. He knew the war would be over as soon as Yagura is dead. Yagura would most probably be in the center of the village if I could get to him. Obito would not be far behind, he thought, and flash-stepped towards the Mizukage Tower, avoiding the others. He reached the tower and saw Yagura flanged by several hunter nins. "So you are the so-called savior that they are talking about. You caused me much troubles," Yagura spoke in an emotionless voice. He could clearly see that his mind was blank because of Obito's genjutsu. He did not give any reply and rushed at the hunter nins, intent on taking them out first. He sidestepped the first kunai jab with his superior speed and killed the attacker by stabbing his own kunai into his neck. He moved his head to the side, a kunai flying past the spot where it was. He then caught the oncoming kunai and threw it back, making it speed more by channeling his Eretun chakra into it, killing the owner. He then saw a combination attack sent at him, and quickly took out the Yorashi, the attacks being absorbed into it by its ability. He then used that chakra against them by converting it into his and yelled, "Eretun, Kamisori Raiden Razor Lightning." Several electric blades came from the sword, cutting and shocking them to death. He felt demonic chakra and saw Yagura with his demonic cloak on and in two-tailed state. Seeing Yagura charging at him, Naruto jumped over him and started engaging the remaining two hunter nins, trying to finish them off first. He ducked the water blade strike from the first one and flash-stepped towards the second and drove a Rasengan through his head, killing him. He took the dead nin's tanto and threw it at the first one, seeing it stab through his heart and fall dead. "Too bad you are sided with those bloodline freaks. You could have been used to me," Yagura told him in his demonic voice, and began charging a Bijou bomb. Naruto watched as a Bijou bomb was thrown at him. He flash-stepped away and watched as it completely destroyed the buildings behind him. He quickly dodged Yagura's claws but was grazed by it. He suddenly became immobilized as corals began growing out of the part he was grazed and quickly covered his bottom half except his neck. "You are trapped like a rat. I have to end you now. What a waste of potential," Yagura said, and began charging a Bijou bomb which was triple in size than the last. Naruto, seeing the Yorashi lying on the floor, mentally called for it to his side. This was another ability of the Yorashi. Because of the sword being sentient, he had developed a mental link between them and he could summon the sword to himself using his chakra through a mental or verbal command. The Yorashi came flying to her owner and shattered a part of the coral, freeing his right arm. Naruto caught the Yorashi with his freed hand and quickly shattered the rest of the coral that was covering him. He freed himself as soon as Yagura released the now humongous Bijou bomb. Naruto quickly took a Rasen kunai and held it in front with both hands in a reverse grab. He struggled a little as the Bijou bomb, which was large as a house, was absorbed into the Rasen kunai. "I need a place to put this," he thought, and found the perfect place to put it. He flash-stepped towards Yagura, who was now in full standby mode, and punched him with the Rasen kunai, releasing the stored Bijou bomb. He quickly flash-stepped away as a large explosion took place in front of Yagura. The force of the explosion through the bijou cloaked Yagura through several buildings. Naruto calmly walked up to the now normal Yagura, who was covered in scorched masks from the explosion. He could tell that he was still alive but barely from the sound of his light breathing. "Where am I?" Yagura asked him in a hoarse voice. Naruto could see that the Mizukage was now broken out of the genjutsu by the shock of the explosion. "You are now in Kiri. You were controlled by a Sharingan user and went on a psychotic reign and executed almost all bloodline users. You were opposed by the rebel army. You were defeated by me," he said in monotone. Yagura let out a pained gasp. He was not in control of himself. "If you would please tell me the last thing you remember," Naruto asked, wanting to find Obito's location. "I was in my mansion when a man appeared out of nowhere. He told me that he had use of me. The last thing I saw was looking into his eyes," Yagura explained. "Oh, I see. Thanks for telling me the location. I know that you were just a puppet, but I have to kill you now because even if I don't, you will still die of your injuries, and also I don't want any witnesses about that man," Naruto said emotionlessly, and quickly sliced Yagura's throat, giving him a quick and painless death. Naruto reached the Mizukage's mansion and entered it. He felt a presence in the shadows and said in an emotionless voice, "I know you are there. I also know your chakra from years ago." He watched as Obito stepped out of shadows wearing a new spiral mask. "I can't believe my luck to see you of all people here and alive. The stories of you dying were wrong. I assumed so. What really happened?" Obito asked him. "I too was sealed away by the Shinigami when my father sealed the Kyuubi into my sister," Naruto lied. "So that's why I couldn't find you anywhere. But why have you come to find me? Are you here for revenge?" he asked Naruto. "I do not care for such foolish notions as revenge. I came here to know if your offer from years ago still stands," Naruto replied, but this time he was telling the truth. He had no plans for revenge and he wanted to join the Akatsuki to better protect his little sister and other purposes. "I believe your former statement. You are a realist like me, someone who sees the bigger picture, so I believe you when you say that you do not want revenge." He paused. "But why do you want to join the organization that is hunting your sister?" he finished. "You did say that I see the bigger picture. I want peace in the world like you, and I know that certain sacrifices must be made to achieve it. Also, even if the bijou is removed from my sister, she will live, like my mother had." Naruto lied with a blank voice. He was not going to let them touch a hair on his little sister, but he had to lie to gain Obito's trust. "He seems to be telling the truth. I knew leaving him alive was the right thing to do with him helping me. The Project Tsuki no Mi will surely not fail," he thought, happy that the blonde was joining him. "I knew you would come to see through my way, Naruto-kun. With you by my side, we will surely achieve true peace in this wretched world," he told him. "Before I join you, I want to know who you are?" Naruto asked. He already knew who he was, but he had to play the part of someone who was ignorant of the truth. "I am Madara Uchiha," he said, lying through his teeth. "I see," Naruto said, not wanting to hear a series of lies if he pressed on that statement. "How did you find me here?" he asked Naruto. He wanted to know how the blonde had found that he was controlling Yagura. "It was easy." "How could you explain Yagura, who was a kind leader, turning into a tyrant overnight?" "The only logical explanation was him being controlled. Knowing that Jinchurikis could not be controlled because of their bijou, it could only mean that a man that could control a bijou was controlling him, which leads me to you," Naruto lied, coming up with a fake but logical reason. "That would explain it now. In my organization called the Akatsuki, I go by the name Tobi. I am not an official member. I am a newbie within the organization who doesn't possess any spectacular jutsu. You should treat me the same way. Only a few, including you, know of my true identity," he told him. "Understandable. I shall contact you when I am ready to join because I have a few things to get done beforehand," Naruto said, wanting to settle things with some people. "All right, I shall find you when the time comes," he replied and warped away. Naruto left the mansion to see Mei standing outside. Next to her was the body of Yagura lying on her feet. "I wanted to be the one to kill him, but you got to him before I did," Mei said in a fake annoying voice. "Wanting to kill someone for petty revenge is pathetic. Why did you come looking for me, Mei?" Naruto asked emotionlessly. "Well, we won, but I didn't see you anywhere. I came to search for you and found the body of this trash laying at my feet and found your chakra signature on him. Then I followed your chakra to here," she explained. "Oh, I see," he said. "Well, what are you doing here?" she asked him. "I was just leaving. The war is over. The things that I came here to do is finished. I'm leaving," he replied in a blank voice and turned to leave. "No, you can't," Mei said, trying to stop him from leaving. "I did say that I would leave when it's over," he replied emotionlessly. "Please stay," she said desperately. "I do not have anything left here that keeps my interest," he said in monotone. "What about me? Am I not in any of your interests?" she shouted. "Why do you think that?" "You do not interest me at all," he replied emotionlessly. But you last night? She questioned, not finding coherent words. I am sorry, Mei, but I have to do this. It's for your own good, Naruto thought, not wanting her to ruin her life following his. You thought that last night meant something, you foolish and naive woman. I was merely using you for my own purpose. You were merely a puppet that I played with until your strings broke, he replied in a blank voice. No, it can't be true. He is lying. I can feel it. He can't leave me too. I won't let him, Mei thought desperately, tears now streaming out of her eyes. No, you are lying. I won't allow you to leave me too, she said, sobbing, and stepped forward to stop him. Naruto Flash stepped in front of her and caught her by the throat, bringing her close to his face. You think that you could stop me? You are weak. It would take you 100 years to even reach close to my level. Now what should I do with you? Kill you, or? He said coldly. He saw her eyes hardening at his statement, and felt her start to struggle against his hold. He tightened his hold on her neck, now choking her, and continued, that look in your eyes. Do you hate me now? Even better, hate me with all you have. Despised me with every cell of your being, and when you think that you and your pathetic new village is strong enough, try and hunt me down. He then released his hold on her neck and saw her fall down to her knees, desperately trying to breathe. He saw her getting her breathing under control and looking at him with hurt clearly visible in her teary eyes. Until that day, live the rest of your pathetic life knowing that you were only a plaything to me, he finished coldly, and gave her a chop to the back of her head. The last words that Mei heard before she lost consciousness were, I am sorry, Mei, but it's for your own good. Naruto, hearing several voices of running in their direction, hurried away before anyone could see him. Amagekyo no Sato. 7 figures wearing black cloaks with red clouds were standing in a large cave lit by candles. They were all called upon for a sudden meeting by their leader. Why do we have to waste our time attending these fucking meetings? I could have given a dozen sacrifices to Jashin-sama by now. A gray-haired man holding a large scythe in his hand said, cursing. He had recently joined the organization about a year ago. For once I agree with your idiotic rambling. We are wasting time, and time is money. His partner, a masked man with pale green, bloodshot eyes, told, irritated at not being able to use this time making money. The leader did say that the meeting was important. What do you say, Sasori, my man? Whom a blonde-haired man with a ponytail asked his partner. I do not know, Deidara. Stop bothering me, you fool. A hunchbacked man with a long metal tail replied, annoyed at his partner. You're lucky that you are my partner, or else I would have given you a taste of my art, Deidara said with a flick of his hair. Your cheap art do not scare me, Deidara. Art is everlasting like me, Sasori replied, his long tail menacingly flexing. What are you calling cheap art? My art is a thing of beauty. It is a spur of a moment, he said, and the two began arguing about art to each other. Still noisy as ever, I see a voice broke them all out of their arguments. I would rather discuss about the recent news from Kiri. The white part of Zetsu said after its black counterpart. Yes, I did hear about it because the Yondaime Mizukage, Yagura, was killed months ago. The rebel army leader was selected as the Godaime Mizukage. A blue-colored, shark-faced man explained. He knew Yagura was being controlled by Madara, but he had to keep it a secret. Yes, the Sanbai Jinchuriki was killed by a mysterious hooded man wearing blue Haori. That was only the information that the new Mizukage let out to the public. Black and white, Zetsu said. A raven-haired woman stayed silent through the entire conversation. She did not wish to indulge herself in these foolish conversations. However, she was a little curious about who the mysterious man was. A orange-haired man with purple concentric eyes and a blue-haired woman with amber eyes entered the cave, catching the attention of everyone. It would seem everyone is present. Pain, the leader of the Akatsuki, said. What is the important meeting that you called us for, Leader-sama? Sasori asked him. We are here for the welcoming ceremony for a new member joining the Akatsuki, Pain replied. But all the members are already paired? Kakuza asked, knowing that all 6 of them were paired. We are still at an odd pairing. When Zetsu is included, the new member will even the odds, Pain replied. Hey, how about letting me join? The mask-wearing Tobi aka Obito asked childishly, jumping up and down. Get lost, you weakling, Sasori said, irritated at his foolish nature. Hi, Tobi replied in a depressed voice, his shoulders slumping. So who is the new guy? Deidara asked. You will find out when he comes, Pain replied. Honestly, he also did not know who it was, much to his irritation. Madara had told him and Konan that he had found a new member for the organization. But he had not told him the new member's name. He had only told him that they all will be truly surprised. Nagato truly hated surprises. It was a surprise from Hanzo of the Salamander that had killed his best friend Yahiko. Whoever he is, I will allow him to join because of Madara. If he betrays us, he will face a god's wrath, Nagato thought, his god complex truly showing. Everyone was snapped out of their thoughts when several sparks began to appear in a shadowed part of the cave. When the sparks stopped, a shadowed figure was standing there. All of them except Toby went on alert at the potential danger. "Are you the new member?" Pain asked the shadowed person. The person did not reply and stepped out of the shadows. He was wearing a black t-shirt with a blue haori on top of it. But his face was shadowed by a hood. All they could see were a pair of cold azure eyes that were glowing. "Who are you?" "Show yourself," Pain asked, irritated at not getting a reply. The hooded man slowly removed his hood, showing his face, saying the words that shocked all of them to the core: "Naruto, Naruto, Namikaze." Naruto watched with a blank face as everyone was trying to get over their shock. He could clearly see that one person was taking the news the hardest. Out of all of them, Naruto personally knew Izumi, Obito, and Kakuzu. How he knew Kakuzu, Naruto, and the stitched-up man locked horns once when his A and BU team had to face the man when they were targeting the same person. His team was targeting the person because of their mission, and Kakuzu was targeting the person for his high bounty. Kakuzu and Naruto battled, and he had managed to destroy 2 of the man's 5 hearts, and Kakashi had destroyed another 2. Kakuzu had fled because he saw he had no chance against an entire ANBU team and also didn't want to lose another heart. How are you alive? You're supposed to be dead." Kakuzu asked in a shocked voice. He had been disappointed that Naruto died fighting the Kyuubi because he could not kill him himself and get his very high bounty. "In a way I did die but came back because of some things I had left to do," Naruto replied emotionlessly. Meanwhile, Izumi Uchiha was having a little trouble breathing. She was shocked to the core when she saw who he was. She had not in a million years expected this. She could tell that the man was not lying when he told that he was Naruto. Even if he had changed, she could still identify Naruto on instinct even in her sleep. She did not know whether to cry or hug him to death. "It is him. How? How could he still be alive?" she thought, her eyes watering. "What do you mean by that? If you had died, then how are you alive? Didn't you die fighting the Kyuubi?" Conan asked. The usually stoic and reserved Kunoichi do not get surprised by anything, but this revelation was truly shocking even to her. "Did you truly think that the Kyuubi could kill me?" Naruto replied emotionlessly. "Then where were you all these years?" Sasori asked him in a calm voice. His voice was calm because he was a puppet, but really he was shocked as well. "In a cold and ruthless world, a world filled with horror and unforgiving dimension," Naruto replied in monotone, referring about the demon world. "What do you mean by that, my man?" Deidara asked him, wanting to know what the fellow blonde meant. "The Kyuubi was not the only one that was sealed 9 years ago," Naruto replied emotionlessly. "You mean you were too why?" Conan asked him. "The Shinigami thought that I would be a problem in the future because of my strength. When the Kyuubi was sealed as compensation for summoning him, he sealed my father's soul and also my body and soul." Naruto lied, not wanting to tell them he was training. Was that what happened to him? It could explain the fact that they couldn't find his body, but why would the Shinigami do something like that to him? "I feel like he is not telling the whole truth," Izumi thought, now intently looking at Naruto. "If you were sealed away, then how are you here?" Conan asked, wanting to find out how he got unsealed. "Just know that I escaped a year ago." "How?" "You do not want to know how," Naruto replied in a blank voice, tired of playing 100 questions with them. "Where were you for the past year?" Pain asked, wanting to find about what he was doing. "I had some business to get done in Kirimori, especially with Yagura," Naruto replied in monotone. "So you were the mysterious man who killed Yagura?" Kisame said, connecting the dots. Naruto did not reply except gave a small nod, much to the shock of the others. "What is your purpose in joining the Akatsuki?" Pain asked, wanting to know why a person like Naruto would join his organization. "I did say that I came back for a purpose all these years, watching from afar, seeing if people would change for the better, and seeing it only getting worse, guided by selfishness and greed, the never-ending fighting. And for what purpose? Is it for power, money, or revenge? All of them selfish reasons. I watched helplessly as the world plunged itself into more darkness, war after war, battle after battle, and all of them leading to unnecessary death," he said emotionlessly, but there was a tinge of sorrow in it. Izumi could understand what he meant. Naruto had always wanted peace in the world. She knew how much it would have hurt his heart seeing the world get far away from his dream. And all that's left after is suffering, watching with despair, as everyone you cherish die before your eyes, watching with despair, as you are unable to do anything about it, watching with despair, as the only last person that you have left in this world is condemned into a cruel fate for the selfish needs of a selfish village, watching with despair as she suffers and you are unable to do anything about it because you are weak and indecisive, Naruto continued in a blank voice, but now there was a hint. of anger in his voice. Izumi let out a silent gasp at his words. She figured he was talking about his sister. How much does he know about her suffering, she thought sadly, and was surprised at the anger in his voice. Naruto was not one who gets angry easily. Then I took a decision to take matters into my own hands. I am done watching. I will give them a chance to change for the better. Naruto paused. And if they want? Pain asked, intrigued by his words. He could tell that the man had known pain like him. If they want, then I will show them true suffering, Naruto finished with a freezing cold voice. Everyone was taken aback by his last words. They could tell that he was dead serious from his tone. Izumi was shocked to hear those words from Naruto. Does he truly mean that? Is he going to walk down that path? Is he really going to hunt his sister? What happened to you, Naruto-kun? You have changed so much, she thought, saddened by his words. The tense atmosphere was suddenly interrupted by another blonde. Naruto, my man, what do you think about art? Deidara asked, wanting to know what Naruto's opinion was about art. Why do you think he would be interested in that pathetic excuses you call art, you fool? Sasori said, annoyed. You want to know what I think about art? Naruto asked emotionlessly. Yeah, what is your opinion about true art? Deidara asked. Very well, in my opinion, true art is neither seen nor heard. It is a feeling of the heart. When you cherish something or someone of importance to you, you see them with your heart and not your eyes. To you, it is something that is invaluable. If you lose it, it will feel like you lose a piece of your own heart. To you, what everyone else think about it is irrelevant. The only thing that will matter to you is what you feel. In one word, true art is irreplaceable, Naruto said in a monotone voice. Everyone was surprised at the depth of his words. The words were truly thought-inducing. Izumi had a small smile on her face. He always had a way with words. It seems to me that not everything has changed about him, she thought, moved by his words. It seems that you know your art very well, Naruto-san, Sasori said, gaining a small amount of respect for the blonde. Art, my foot! Tell me, Naruto, do you want to join the way of Jashin? Haiden asked excitedly, wanting Naruto to join his religion. Way of Jashin? Naruto asked emotionlessly. Yeah, the way of Jashin, Haiden replied. What is that? Naruto asked emotionlessly. You can kill people and you won't be punished. In fact, it just pleases Jashin-sama even more, Haiden replied. I see, Naruto said in a blank voice. What do you say? Isn't that a wonderful teaching? Are you interested in joining? Haiden asked, excited. So, you're just a homicidal maniac? Naruto asked emotionlessly. Homicidal maniac? That's not it at all. I am just offering up prayers to Jashin-sama, Haiden replied, not liking being called a homicidal maniac. All you are spreading are false teachings. You believe in a false god. You talk a lot. You do not understand the value of life. You do not understand it at all. You are just a thug who loves to kill. You can't even control your own self. Those who kill people just for the fun of it never dies a decent death. Remember that, Naruto said emotionlessly. He did not have time for people like Haiden. Why, you blasphemer, looks like I'll just have to offer you up to Jashin-sama, Haiden angrily said, pointing his scythe at Naruto. Stand down, you fool. That man was able to keep up with me in a fight when he was 8 years old. You do not stand a chance against him, Kakuzu told him, annoyed by his partner. Him? Then he will be a worthy sacrifice to Jashin-sama, Haiden said, laughing like a maniac. You may try, but you won't succeed, Naruto said emotionlessly, not at all concerned by the threat. That does it. I'll kill you, fucker, Haiden said angrily and rushed at Naruto with his scythe, ignoring the warnings of pain. Naruto ducked and weaved the slashes with ease. You are pathetic, just slashing away with your scythe like a barbarian, Naruto said emotionlessly, further angering Haiden. Changing things up, he threw his scythe at Naruto, who sidestepped it, but he reeled his scythe in with the cord attached to it, and was able to graze Naruto's shoulders, drawing a little blood. Haiden laughed maniacally and drew a hexagonal pattern on the floor with blood. He licked the blood on the scythe and his appearance changed to resemble a skeleton. Okay, let's start the ritual, he said with a psychotic grin. Izumi was concerned about Naruto. She had seen Haiden's rituals when she had went to recruit the homicidal maniac. Now, let's experience the ultimate pain together. He then took out a long metal stake and stabbed it through his own stomach, blood spitting out of his mouth. Doesn't it hurt? It feels good. Glory to Jashin-sama, Haiden shouted maniacally with his hands raised, still stabbed in the stomach. Everyone watched as Naruto was still standing on the spot with the same bored and emotionless look. Is that all? Naruto asked in a blank voice. Hey, why didn't you die? Haiden asked, confused. Suddenly Naruto dispersed in a group of bats that made Haiden step out of his ritual circle and lose his skeletal appearance. Hayden felt a presence behind him and felt a sword being held against the back of his neck. I didn't die because I was never there to begin with. Even if you had stabbed me, I still wouldn't die. You never were a challenge for me from the beginning. I repeat, you are just a thug who takes immense joy in killing, Naruto explained emotionlessly. Hayden swung his scythe towards his back to attempt to stab Naruto. He watched as the blonde suddenly disappeared from behind and reappeared at the far end of the cave. Stay still, you asshole, and fight seriously, Hayden said, now fuming. You want me to fight seriously? If you say so, Naruto asked emotionlessly. Naruto flash-stepped again to appear next to Hayden in an instant, and shoved a Rasengan through his stomach, causing him to crash against the cave wall. How is he moving so fast? He was not using Rasen, Izumi thought, amazed by Naruto's speed. Pain was not stopping the fight because he wanted to know what the Namikaze was truly capable of in a fight. Hayden slowly got up from the wall holding his stomach. You cannot kill me, you asshole, he said, panting. Who says that I want to kill you? I just want to show you true suffering, Naruto replied emotionlessly. Inyang release, Anoyan, eternal flames, he said. White flames came out of his right hand. Everyone watched as Hayden began screaming in pain and began rolling around trying to get them up. That's enough, Naruto-san, we need him in our organization, Pain said, not wanting to find another member for Kakuzu. Flame control, Naruto said, and the white flames came back from Hayden and began surrounding Naruto's hands, but not burning him. Naruto calmly walked up to Hayden, who had steam coming from his body. Naruto picked him up and pinned him to the wall by stabbing his sword through his heart. I will now tell about all the mistakes you made. Firstly, you attacked me, that was truly foolish of you. Secondly, you thought you could kill me, you wouldn't be able to kill me in a million years. Lastly, you thought that your immortality will save you. I tell you that it is nothing but a curse. He finished and removed his sword from Hayden and caught him by his collars before he could fall. Naruto then began punching Hayden's face to the cave, saying coldly, you think that you know pain, you know nothing of true suffering, you are merely a thug with a blade who is immortal. Do you now feel the pain felt by your victims? Do you feel their fear? Do you now feel their suffering? He then gave a final punch that knocked out Hayden.